Evening, and welcome to the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management. At this time, please place your phones on vibrate or on silent mode. If you want to testify, send it to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Once again, that's testimony@council.nyc.gov. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sandy Nurse. I'm chair of the Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management. Welcome to our preliminary budget hearing. Today, this committee will address the mayor's fiscal 2024 preliminary budget for the Department of Sanitation. The department's proposed fiscal 2024 budget totals $1.82 billion for programmatic funding, broken into $1.6 billion for personnel services spending and $760 million in other than personnel services spending. DSNY's proposed capital commitment plan totals $2.5 billion over 5 years, spread across 183 projects, and the 10-year capital strategy plan, released every 2 years, totals $3.8 billion for DSNY. The city is at a pivotal stage in regards to making progress on improving the cleanliness of its streets and public spaces. Fiscal 2024 will see the expansion and implementation of 2 massively important sanitation projects, the citywide curbside composting program and commercial waste zones. The citywide curbside composting program, announced by the mayor in January, will be live in 4 of the 5 boroughs by the end of fiscal 2024. And the commercial waste zones program will begin outreach towards a first phase in the second half of the calendar year 2024. These programs are on top of the ongoing work, such as the twice per day, 6 day per week citywide litter basket service the council funded in fiscal 23, as well as the rest of DSNY's essential services. The committee and the council as a whole want to ensure that all of this necessary work is fully funded and fully staffed in fiscal 2024. Going into this preliminary budget cycle, agencies citywide were instructed to cut their civilian vacancies by 50%. DSNY cut 28 budgeted positions for the fiscal year 2024 preliminary plan, in addition to 68 budgeted positions cut in the November plan. These vacancies are a concern for the council. A high priority of this committee is to baseline funding for litter basket service, which led to a drastic decrease in complaints, lot cleaning and precision cleaning that were funded for fiscal 2023, but are not currently funded for fiscal 2024. While we commend the administration for not cutting DSNY's budget as severely as in past years, the fiscal 2024 budget is currently over $50 million below what the fiscal 2023 budget was at adoption. The council will be fighting for the inclusion of adequate funding for many important programs in the 2024 executive budget and would like to see them baselined moving forward, as this will save the city in the long run. The committee looks forward to hearing about the agency's citywide capital investment strategy and expense budget updates. DSNY Commissioner Jessica Tisch, we look forward to your testimony today, along with First Deputy Commissioner Javier Lohan and Deputy Commissioners Gregory Anderson and Joe Antonelli. Before we begin, the committee may not get to all of our questions, or you may not have responses, so we will send a follow-up letter for any unanswered questions. I want to thank my staff, Anel Hernandez, as well as the committee staff, Andrew Lane Lawless, Ricky Chawla, for helping and preparing for today's hearing. I want to recognize Council Members Amanda Farias, Council Member Chio Say, Council Member Eric Botcher for being here with us now. We have Council Member Marjorie Velasquez on Zoom as well. So with that said, I'll turn it over to Council for the committee to administer the oath.
Thank you, Chair. Chris Sartori, Committee Counsel. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this committee and to respond honestly to council member questions? Thank you.
Good morning, Chair Nurse and members of the City Council Committee on Sanitation and Solid Waste Management. I am Jessica Tisch, Commissioner of the New York City Department of Sanitation. I am joined today by First Deputy Commissioner Javier Lohan, Joseph Antonelli, Deputy Commissioner for Management and Budget, and Gregory Anderson, Deputy Commissioner for Policy and Strategic Initiatives. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on DSNY's fiscal year 2024 preliminary budget. When Mayor Adams took office last year, New York City was filthy. The previous administration gutted core cleanliness functions at DSNY during the pandemic, slashing funding for basic services like litter basket collection and street cleaning. Combined with staffing shortages related to the ongoing pandemic, these cuts had created service levels among the lowest we've seen in decades. Miscollections increased, cleanliness complaints increased, basic enforcement decreased, and the city was viscerally and visibly dirtier. In the first year of the Adams administration, the narrative has begun to change. Mayor Adams has made unprecedented new investments in restoring cleaning programs and so much more. Today, we have more than 8,000 uniformed sanitation workers and officers, the highest uniform headcount in 2 decades. Before I address the specifics of our FY24 budget, I'll discuss a few highlights of our new programs and priorities as we work to get stuff clean. First, DSNY is implementing one of the most important changes to waste management in decades next month, changing the rules around waste set out to eliminate the 5 o'clock shadow of black bags on the curb. Currently, trash and recycling may be placed out on the curb after 4 p.m. the night before collection, the earliest of any major American city, meaning that in many neighborhoods, these items can sit out for more than 14 hours a day, including during the evening and AM pedestrian rush hours. The new rules, which take effect on April 1st, give 2 options for residential and commercial properties. Residential properties will be able to set out waste in bags at the curb starting at 8 p.m. or in containers of 55 gallons or less with a lid starting at 6 p.m. Commercial properties and establishments will be able to set waste in bags at the curb starting at 8 p.m. or in containers with a lid starting 1 hour before closing. In addition to these new proposed rules, DSNY is doing more of its collection on the midnight shift than pre-pandemic, further reducing the amount of time that trash sits on the street. This month, DSNY has rolled out an aggressive marketing and communications campaign to educate the public about the new rules, including mailers to every home and business, ads on social media, digital and print platforms, and dozens of meetings with business groups, community organizations, and other stakeholders. We have also taken aim at something that every New Yorker was aware of: the way in which the city became meaningfully dirtier over the course of the pandemic, following deep cuts to the budget for the department's cleanliness function that took effect in March of 2020. To that end, Mayor Adams has restored several cleaning services as part of his plan to get stuff clean. But he hasn't just restored them. He's gone beyond, giving us the highest level of service for these basic cleanliness functions in history. Together, these initiatives represent a total investment of $53.2 million in the current fiscal year, the largest investment in new cleanliness programs in decades, and they total nearly 250 additional uniformed personnel for the agency. Last July, in partnership with the City Council, we added $22 million in supplemental service for the more than 23,000 corner litter baskets across New York City. This represents a 74% increase in service above the baseline funding level and has led to a decrease in 311 complaints for overflowing litter baskets by more than 50% compared to last fiscal year. Baskets are emptied 50,000 times more often citywide each week, and we've seen the largest year-over-year decrease in complaints ever. In November, we added $4.8 million to provide supplemental service for litter baskets on DOT bridges and around parks, some of the most highly trafficked tourist areas in the city. Together, these investments fund 889 weekly litter basket crews, up from a pre-pandemic high of 736 weekly crews, and the highest level of litter basket service on record at DSNY. Regular cleaning for some of our most visible areas, which is so essential to our recovery. Last July, DSNY fully restored street cleaning operations after more than 2 years of cuts to sweeping frequency. Mechanical brooms are the city's most effective tools for street cleaning, sweeping litter from along the curb on thousands of miles of New York City streets. And they'd been handcuffed, effectively assigned to desk duty. This restoration of a critical cleaning operation, alongside new management and analytical tools to track performance, has contributed to noticeably cleaner streets. However, our street sweepers are only as good as New Yorkers' compliance with parking regulations. And we need New Yorkers to move their cars for ASP so our street sweepers can do their jobs. They should know that if they don't, they will receive a ticket and their street will look dirtier for it. Last fall, we also restored supplemental sweeping of highway on-ramps and off-ramps, often one of the first places that visitors and commuters see when they come to New York, and an area that contributed to New York's reputation as Trash City. With $470,000 in new funds this year and $1.1 million in baseline funding thereafter, we're cleaning more than 150 miles of ramps on an average of once a month. But what about our neighborhoods? For far too long, no man's land areas, the walkways, medians, step streets, overpasses, and other areas around the city harbored dirty, litter-filled conditions. These areas fell between the bureaucratic jurisdictional cracks, and no agency had the resources or the mandate to clean them. In November, DSNY created a new targeted neighborhood task force unit to regularly clean these areas for the first time ever. We're addressing over 1,500 of them in every community in the city. This unit, funded for $7.1 million in fiscal year '23, will grow to 141 dedicated sanitation workers this year. Already, it's having an impact on overlooked spaces across the 5 boroughs, and nearly every location originally identified for cleaning has been cleaned at least twice, with additional new locations being added each week. We are doing our part to clean up New York City, but every New Yorker has a role to play in maintaining the cleanliness of our neighborhoods. In a city this size, it can't just be the 10,000 members of the sanitation department doing this important work. We have a new focus on enforcing basic cleanliness rules, cleaning the sidewalk in front of a chain store, putting trash out when you're supposed to, and in an orderly manner, the kinds of things that keep our streets clean. These are the most basic cleanliness rules, not enforcement for enforcement's sake. For things like filthy sidewalks, loose trash, uncovered receptacles that attract rats, the sorts of basic cleanliness requirements that make for good neighbors and good neighborhoods, we are looking at an 80% increase in summons issuance year to date as compared to the same period in 2022. On one of the most crucial regulations, the requirement that property owners keep their sidewalks clean, we have written nearly 12,000 summonses this year alone, up 79% compared to the same time last year. But enforcement only goes so far when the penalty for inaction is too low. Right now, fines for basic sanitation rules are set by local law at just $50, an amount that, in my opinion, is far too low. This was reduced from $100 by City Council in 2021, sending the message that cleanliness is not a top priority in our city. I am calling on this council to reverse course and create stiffer penalties. I am eager to work with you to make this happen. I'd also like to provide an update on our illegal dumping enforcement, one of this administration's most successful operations at the intersection of safety and cleanliness, where for far too long, the only strategy was just to clean it up and let it happen all over again. Illegal dumping is the theft of public space where someone, usually a crooked contractor or an out-of-towner, comes to what they think is a neighborhood that no one will care about, a place they can just leave their trash on our streets. This doesn't affect every neighborhood, but the ones it does affect feel it profoundly, and that should matter to every New Yorker. Dumpers are wrong about 2 things. They're wrong to think that no one cares about Hunts Point or East New York or Glendale or any of the other neighborhoods where this has been a problem for too long, and they're wrong to think that they'll get away with it. For the first time in New York City, they won't. That's because of our new citywide illegal dumping enforcement camera network that will grow each week to more than 250 cameras this summer, and it's because of the work of our dedicated sanitation police officers who use that camera network in their investigations to catch dumpers and hold them accountable. Based on this new strategy, both vehicle impounds and the $4,000 summons for illegal dumping are up 450% year to date versus the same period in 2022. Our message to dumpers is clear. Your days of dumping on our neighborhoods are long past over. Last month, I joined Mayor Adams to announce a roadmap to implement the nation's largest composting program, which will provide universal composting service to every New Yorker for the first time ever over the next 19 months. While curbside composting programs have existed in New York City for the last decade, None have ever served more than approximately 40% of the city. This will be the first ever specific planning commitment to reach 100% coverage citywide, providing residences with simple, universal weekly collection of leaf and yard waste, food scraps, and food-soiled paper products. It is also the first program designed as a service for mass market use by all New Yorkers. This announcement came on the heels of the cost-effective first phase in Queens last fall, which collected nearly 13 million pounds of yard and food waste, more than 3 times the material per district than the legacy opt-in program. The new program is built on a number of efficiencies that drive costs down, including the use of dual bin trucks and a right sizing of the workforce to reduce overtime. The leaf and yard waste first approach was designed based on an analysis of successful programs in other cities. Unlike past composting programs, there will be no sign-up required for this new program. Residents will simply set out anything from their kitchen or their garden in a separate bin on their recycling day, and DSNY will pick up those materials to turn them into usable compost or clean renewable energy. DSNY is working with OMB to refine the costs associated with this program, which we expect to be funded in the executive budget. This universal curbside program is part of a comprehensive approach to organic waste diversion. Earlier this year, we completed the installation of 250 smart compost bins across all 5 boroughs. These bins are accessible 24 hours per day via a new app for iOS and Android called NYC Compost. New smart compost bin service covers a number of traditionally underserved communities, including Bushwick, Bed-Stuy, Castle Hill, Harlem, Highbridge, the North Shore of Staten Island, Parkchester, the area around Queensbridge houses, and Washington Heights. Across these communities, the bins have been greeted by enthusiastic usage and have diverted pristine compostable material from landfill, and where feasible, we are servicing these bins using existing school organics trucks. As Manhattan will receive curbside service last, DSNY is also adding an additional 150 smart compost bins borough-wide beginning in June for a total of 400 citywide. We also announced a major milestone last week in efforts to expand composting at city public schools, completing the rollout of curbside composting service at every school in the Bronx. Over the next year, we will expand service to the remaining 533 schools, largely in Brooklyn and Queens, delivering on our commitment to provide composting to every public school by the end of the 24 school year. Cities in Europe, Asia, and South America have introduced new innovations in waste collection over the past 2 decades. New York City, however, is stuck in the past. In October, we launched a study of containerization practices and feasibility in New York City. This study is largely complete, and we expect to release a public report in the coming weeks. A few highlights. Implementing shared containers in New York City involves significant complexity, including new trucks and containers that have never before been used in North America at scale. It also requires substantial curb space, taking away space used for parking, open restaurants, and other uses. And it requires significant increases to service frequency. Some cities in Europe provide collection service as often as once or twice per day. In parallel, DSNY has conducted a small pilot of containerization through our Clean Curbs program. Since the first installation was announced last April, we have installed more than 40 total Clean Curbs containers in all 5 boroughs. We have provided grants totaling $375,000 to 19 business improvement districts and community organizations for Clean Curbs installations in all 5 boroughs. In November, we also launched the Clean Curbs residential pilot on 45th Street between 9th and 10th Avenues in Manhattan. This pilot has taught us a lot. Most importantly, that behavior change will be key to any adoption of containerization at scale. This block has been advocating for waste containerization for years, and despite consistent education and outreach efforts, there is regularly waste placed outside the containers every day of the week, despite the containers not being full. This is an incredibly resource-intensive pilot, and this approach is not scalable beyond its current scope. Preliminary budget includes $1.93 billion in expense funds in fiscal year 2023 and $1.82 billion in fiscal year 2024, reflecting increases of $55.9 million and $4.5 million, respectively, from the budget adopted last June. The fiscal year 2024 expense budget includes $1.06 billion for personal services to support a total budgeted headcount of 9,551 full-time positions including 7,649 uniform positions and 1,902 civilian positions, and $760 million for other than personal services. DSNY's fiscal year 2024 preliminary budget includes $4.17 billion in capital funding in the 10-year plan, including $1.48 billion for garages and facilities, $2.48 billion for equipment, $72.6 million for IT, and $135.3 million for solid waste management infrastructure. The capital budget includes new funding of $100 million to purchase 244 additional new trucks, allowing us to dramatically increase the pace of purchases of rear loader and dual bin collection trucks. We are aggressively moving to bring in these new vehicles, which will bring down the average age of our fleet and improve out-of-service rates. The capital budget also includes funding for several major facilities projects, including $170 million in additional funding for the construction of a new garage for Bronx Districts 9, 10, and 11, with construction of temporary space scheduled to begin in 2024, and $140 million in additional funding for the construction of a new garage for Queens District 1, with construction of the new garage scheduled to begin in 2027. Together, these investments will begin to address critical infrastructure needs at our sanitation garages, many of which are in desperate need of repair. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today, and my staff and I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're going to start on the issue of the citywide organics program, focus on the pilot, and then I'll open it up for some of you want to ask questions. So just to begin, can you walk us through the overall startup cost of the Queens Organic Pilot, inclusive of outreach, new hires, and equipment?
Yes. DSNY, but before we started the Queens rollout, we had existing funding related to organics of $4.15 million in OTPS funds. That money was initially slated for the Legacy Opt-in program in FY23, but we diverted those funds for bin delivery, outreach, marketing, and communications for the Queens program, and also to pre-order bins for the next rounds of expansion. Of that, the total outreach and communications, the cost for total outreach and communications is $1.5 million. On the PS side, came out to about $2.75 million, of which we had existing PS funds of $747,000. So the net PS cost, the net new PS cost, was $2 million. And then we also had a processing OTPS cost of approximately $721,000.
Can you tell me how many new hires or personnel were added with any of that additional?
76.
76. And that was primarily for the outreach or for the actual collections?
The collections. It was additional 76 on the uniform side.
Okay.
For outreach and, for collection.
Got it. So before the launch of the pilot, DSNY stated the goal was to reach every household in Queens in person to notify them of the beginning of the pilot. Were you able to hit those outreach goals? And we did talk a little bit about outreach material in the past, but just again, for a refresher, was the material available in multiple languages? And how was the outreach tracked?
We did a massive outreach effort over the course of approximately 2 months for the Queens Organics program. And just, I know this wasn't part of your question, but we expect to do the same type of outreach before we turn on each other borough in the full rollout. But I will describe to you that outreach program now. There are many different layers of it. First, and sort of most basically, every Queens resident got a simple, easy to understand mailer mailed to their house, informing them that when the service was starting, to place their bins out on their recycling day and the basics of what can go in the bins, the food waste and the yard waste. We also did door-to-door canvassing, and the goal, which we achieved, was to knock on every door in Queens for residences that had, or buildings that had between 1 and 9 residences, and we did that. The outreach material was available, obviously not only in English, but in all the local law languages. For residents that were not home when we came to knock, we would also leave the flyer on the door. I would say this was the largest outreach effort ever done for an organics program in the city, and probably for the Department of Sanitation, if not the largest, one of the largest outreach efforts focused on one borough ever for any program.
And how were you tracking that data? Were you using a particular platform or system?
Greg, do you know how it was tracked? But I know we have, because I would get briefings on it,
Yeah.
excellent data of how many, each of the outreach teams would be given an assigned route, and they would have to track in the system which routes they had completed, but they got daily assignments. Do you have anything to add to that, Greg?
Yeah, I'll just add, we have a sort of field survey application that we use for a number of different uses. One of them is tracking outreach, so the individual outreach associates would record how many doors they knocked, how many successful contacts they had, any follow-up that was needed. So they were tracking that as they were doing the outreach.
Great. So we understand that the Queens pilot diverted 12.7 million pounds of material, which is phenomenal and great. Beyond the cost per sanitation district and tons of organics diverted, what other data does DSNY have on the Queens program? So how many households participated? What was the diversion rate? How much of the organics was yard waste versus food waste, if you have a sense of that, or if there's the ability to track, because I know probably, in my mind, I imagine it's all commingled in the truck. But yeah, so household participation rate, diversion rate, and the separation between yard versus food waste.
So you're correct that it is not possible for us to know how much yard versus food waste was in there. I suspect, based on other data that we've looked at that I can walk you through, that it was a lot of yard waste, certainly more yard waste than food waste. And the reason that I'm pretty confident in that is if you look at the tonnage by month, October, November, December. November this year was the month where we had the most leaves that fell. That's where like the big numbers were. And in November, the tonnage amounts shot up. So October, it was almost 2,600. Is this pounds or tons? I'm sorry, 2,600, no, 2.6 million pounds. In November, it was almost 6 million pounds. And then in December, it was approximately 4 million pounds. So I'm taking my assessment that there was a lot of yard waste in there based on the fact that the November numbers were so high. In terms of household participation, unfortunately, that's not something that DSNY is able to track because the black bags are left on the curb and our sanitation workers come and pick them up. One thing I'm looking to do as we roll out in Brooklyn is to get at the participation numbers by doing a survey. That's not the most scientific way to do it, but it is the best way that I can think of to get at participation data. What I will say on the Queen's organics program over those 3 months is that we were running at the same time the service in 7 legacy opt-in districts. We had 8 districts in the borough of Queens that each individually outperformed all 7 of the legacy opt-in districts that had basically had service for a decade prior. And those 7 were not chosen by accident, meaning the 7 that were outperformed. They were chosen because those were the places where there was the most interest citywide in curbside collection of organics. So I found it very meaningful and very telling that 8 districts in Queens that had never had curbside collection service previously outperformed the 7 districts that had been running for 10 years. And 1 district, Queens East 12, which is Jamaica and St. Albans, that district outperformed all 7 of the legacy opt-in districts combined.
Is there any qualitative data you want to talk about in terms of why that district performed more, although having no access to it? Is there something unique about that, or is it just, was there any particular outreach? Did you involve the elected officials? Like, is there anything done that?
Well, as you know, there was nothing different about the outreach in Queens East 12, meaning we did the same type of outreach in every district. But one thing that changed in the outreach is depending on what part of Queens we were in, we had 2 different messages, okay? So in parts of Queens that had a lot of yards and leaves, we hit hard the leaf and yard waste. In parts of Queens, parts of Western Queens where there are bigger rat problems, we hit hard the messaging on rats. And what I think was different about this program and really contributed to the success, and I mentioned this in my testimony, is the whole thing is designed to be mass market, meaning I don't need to convince the truest of the true believers. And if you look at old programs for organics that didn't really pan out or work well, all the messaging was about methane. And I went to do some of the door-to-door knocking, and it was like really eye-opening for me. If we want universal curbside organics to work, we can't make this a problem for New Yorkers.
No
we
one
can't
cares
make
about
this
methane.
extra thing. We cannot talk to them about methane. We have to talk to them about rats, and we have to talk to them about pitch it as a service. Hey, you have all this leaf and yard waste? Do the right thing. Just instead of like putting it in the black bag, you keep it separately anyway, just put it out on your recycling day, we'll come collect it.
So just in terms of, I know you're not able to, so it sounds like you probably got a ton of yard and leaf waste from the places that have yards and side yards, and then in other areas not. Do you know, how was the contamination rate by chance? Like, were you getting pristine stuff? Are you all able to
Certainly not as
look at that?
It's certainly not as pristine as the material we get in our smart composting bins, which is like a truly pristine compostable material. But the way that we handle that is we have both machinery and people who do the separation, so that by the time it gets to be composted or turned into renewable energy, it is in a good enough state to be successful.
There's no ability to pull a percentage of, based on this pilot, we're going to see X percentage of contamination rate.
One thing that I am looking for us to do as part of our deluxe waste characterization study, which is ongoing now, as we do it in our future collections is to look at just that question. And the reason I want to wait for that waste characterization study to do that is because that is a highly scientific study where you have real methodology for how you go through the bags. So I want the teams that are doing that study, who are looking at our waste anyway, to also give us an assessment of what is in the organics bins. But I agree with you 100% that that is important information to have, and that will definitely be included as part of the waste characterization study.
Great. And just one more question related to understanding the participation. I know you're not tracking per household, but do you have a sense of how many people ordered bins, or how many bins did you give out for the pilot? And or stickers, right? Because it was like you could get the bin or you could put a sticker on it.
I apologize. I do not have that data here, but we can very easily get you that number, likely within the next few minutes, but if not, before the hearing.
You can, yeah, whenever you got it, you can just share it over. Okay, so there is currently 11.5 million baseline for organics funding citywide for FY24, not counting the 2.6 million added for the Queens pilot. This amounts to about 6 million below what is funded for fiscal 23. DSNY has stated that the estimated cost for the FY24 program would be 18.7 million. Can you confirm whether that is the full cost to staff a full-year organics program in Queens, 9 months in Brooklyn, and 3 months in Bronx and Staten Island, including staff, bins, outreach, collection, and disposal/processing?
So the reason that the number in the preliminary budget does not reflect the cost of the full expansion is we announced the full expansion, unfortunately, after the preliminary budget. So what's been going on for the past few weeks is we are working with the Office of Management and Budget to make sure that the necessary costs to fund the expansion of the organics program, and obviously also the Queens program, are accounted for in the executive budget. I believe that the numbers that were sent to council earlier this week were sent in error and do not actually represent the final totals, and that is because we are going through that right now, and I look forward to having a full discussion about it at our executive budget hearing when it will be reflected.
Okay, and then I think if I recall in previous hearings, we had talked about trucks as well.
Yes.
And I believe you had mentioned there was some procurement happening or some contracting starting, and that is, but if I remember right, when we were in our conversations about the budget, that maybe wasn't reflected in 23 or 24. Is that going to be reflected in 24?
The full costs of the organics plan, both the sanitation workers, the outreach, and the capital investments as well, the trucks, that will all be included in the executive budget, again, because we were still hammering out the details of this during the preliminary budget. But I am very pleased to tell you that because of the lead times associated with trucks, we have worked with the Office of Management and Budget and to be able to procure the 158 trucks that are necessary to run the full citywide curbside organics collection program. So we have already placed orders for the 158 dual bins and rear loaders that will be required for the citywide expansion before the executive budget. Those orders are in, and I am also very pleased to tell you that we have worked with the manufacturers to ensure that the 90 additional trucks of the 158 that we will need for the Brooklyn expansion will be in on time.
That's great. Okay, just one more question to tease it out. How much of those costs are the one-time, the startup cost, I imagine, was a little bit harder than what the yearly costs are going to be do you have of running the program?
Well, I
Yes,
can
at
give you the
full-
comparisons, I can sort of get at your question. I can give you the comparisons for what we did in Queens. In Queens, when you talk about the startup costs, you're talking about really outreach is the big one, and then bins. The outreach and communications cost for Queens was approximately $1.5 million. And then unfortunately, I don't have the bin cost here, but we can get you the bin cost.
Okay. And then the information about who requested bins, how many requested stickers
Oh, I'm sorry. It was a total of $1 million to order bins for
bins.
Queens.
Okay. And how many bins was that?
Did we get the bin number yet?
Not yet.
We're working on the bin number.
Got it. Okay. One more, I want to ask a question that I'm trying to figure out how it relates, but with the smart bins, are those included as in your litter basket service kind of collections, or in this bucket of the organic?
Not in this bucket.
Okay.
Those costs are separate from what we just discussed. We tend to, where we can, service those bins with our school trucks.
Okay.
So, for example, now that we've turned on organic separation and collection for all the Bronx schools, we use our Bronx school trucks to service those bins. If we have to run additional trucks, particularly in parts of Brooklyn where we don't have yet full organics collection at the schools, we run additional trucks when needed. And also, I mean, the popularity of these bins is incredible. The school trucks don't run on the weekends, so we had to add some trucks in some neighborhoods to service the bins on the weekends because they were getting full, which is a good problem to have.
So with the school trucks that you're using and the additional bins that you're planning to roll out, do you know how many more trucks you're going to need?
By the end of the next school year, all of the schools citywide will be on 5-day-a-week organic collection. So
you don't anticipate needing more
No.
trucks?
I got the number.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Never mind.
Okay, sorry.
going.
Just toss it out when
Sorry,
you
I'm
get it.
trying to do math in my head.
No, I got it. What is it, millions to tons to pounds and all that? It's difficult. Yeah.
No, it's actually much more simple than that. It's just a number of bins.
Just a
Okay. I was trying to throw the phone.
It's 43,000. It was 43,000 brown bins ordered in Queens. But I want to point out that the whole point of the Queens curbside program was keep it simple.
Right.
No need to opt in, express interest, or order a specific type of bin. We said, if you want a brown bin, we'll send one to you for free. We got them there within like a week or two of order, like no problem. But like, if you happen to have your own bin, like by all means, just use it. So that was.
So it was $1 million in bins for 43,000, and all of those went out, or those?
All 43,000 were
all 43 went
delivered.
out.
Yes, that was the cost of buying the bins and delivering the bins and all of that.
Okay. So, and just a clarifying question from my brain, if a New Yorker in Queens is participating, but they don't have a bin and they didn't get a sticker, what are they doing? They're just putting their bag out on the day, and the worker is?
They're putting, the organic material, if it is food waste, it has to be in a bin. I mean, that's the whole point.
Okay.
We want to get it away from the rats. If they put it in a bin, it could be a brown bin, it could be a yellow bin. I don't care what color it is, or if it has, frankly, a sticker or not. If it is in If it is in a bin and it is organic material and it is out on the recycling day, we collect it.
How does the worker know that, because you're doing dual, right? So you're doing more than the organics on the days that you're picking up. So
Yeah,
how does the
well,
worker
it's the same
know?
way they know the difference between paper and metal, glass, and plastic.
But is
You
it,
see
it's in a black bag, right? You're not
Oh, no,
requiring
not in a
different
black bag.
color?
Can't
Okay,
be in a black
sorry, I
bag.
just wanted to get that. So it cannot be in a black bag.
No, because
Okay.
then we won't know what it is.
Great. Okay, gonna move to a few more questions and then I'll open it up because I see you giving me the looks. It's okay. Okay. I was like, we got a lot to talk about. Okay, so last year, so fiscal '23, in our preliminary budget response, the council called on the city to build new organics processing facility. Does DSNY have enough capacity to process the expected volume of organics in the city?
So the short answer is yes, but not in a way that pleases me or that I think would please you. Between our composting contracts and our own compost facility and our work with the Department of Environmental Protection, we believe that we have the processing power to handle the amount of material that we would collect. But we saved Manhattan for last for a few reasons. Among them, I don't want to have to send all Manhattan organics to the northern part of Brooklyn. It just unfairly puts too many trucks there. So one of the things that we're working on over the next 19 months before Manhattan gets turned on is putting in place the appropriate contracts and frankly the appropriate plan for what we are going to do and how we are going to process Manhattan organic material. Do you have anything to add to that, Greg? Nope. Okay.
And does any of that involve a commercial, a marine transfer station in Manhattan?
I'm sorry?
Will any of that involve a marine transfer station in Manhattan?
Does that involve a
The
new marine
MTS
transfer
yeah,
station?
like use of your MTS station, your marine transfer stations.
I cannot imagine that we are going to end up using the marine transfer stations in Manhattan, largely because they are not set up for
Organics.
two different types of material, like refuse and organics, and I think that that would be problematic. They weren't built for that. But we are doing the work now to put in place a plan.
Okay. So you have enough between what you have in terms of facilities and contracts, you have enough up until Manhattan. You're buying yourself more time.
Now, I have enough,
before-
including Manhattan.
Including, but you just don't want to bring it to North Brooklyn.
I don't think we should. I don't think that that would be an appropriate go-forward
And-
strategy.
So what is the participation rate of a citywide program that this yes answer is tethered to? So if this is wildly successful and New Yorkers are participating in this program higher than recycling, for example, is that a volume of material that we have? At what point of participation does it start to put stress on the system?
Yeah, so we currently have capacity for as much as 50% capture rate on organics. Obviously, that's in a smaller number of facilities than we'd like. So as the commissioner mentioned, we're going out on the street with the procurement in the next few months to try to get additional, not only capacity, but additional locations to tip the material. And once we have those contracts in place, we think we'll have capacity to go even above 50% capture. I will say 50% capture is a number that we've achieved on metal, glass, and plastic and paper after 30 plus years of work there. So it may take us some time to get there, but that's obviously, we'd like to hit that and go further.
And I'll just add, like, I've learned a few things in my 15 years working in government, and one of the things is you cannot plan for I don't know if we'd call this the best or worst case scenario, meaning you can't plan for a small participation rate. you got to plan for like what you realistically want
Yeah.
or think. And that's what we're doing.
As a 50% rate, what you're hoping for as a?
That would be fantastic. I'm nearly certain we're not going to get that in the program's infancy because no city gets that in the program's infancy. But I think like part of this commitment to doing curbside organics citywide is like this thing is here to stay. This is like what the city is going to be doing now for generations to come, which is why it's so exciting. And when you're building something, there are initial startup costs. You don't have as many quote-unquote customers at the beginning as you do when you're running for several years. So hopefully it's just going to grow and grow.
Yeah, so given that, are there any discussions about new processing facilities that you all would be looking to develop within the city?
Not at this time, because again, we have, our plans are for a 50% capture rate for organic material, which I think that's ambitious. I mean, that's ambitious. It's not conservative at all. And I think it's appropriate. And that 50% rate should take us out for many appropriate years in the future. So the real focus now on the processing side is on the Manhattan piece that we were just discussing.
And just final point on this, how much of the organics is processed in city, or how much do you plan to process within city versus outside of the city?
A lot because of our work with the Department of Environmental Protection. Do you have a number? Right now it's around 70%.
70%. And that's through the digesters?
Well, we have the digester, we have the Staten Island compost facility, so yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a second on the organics questioning, allow my colleagues to ask some questions. I want to acknowledge Councilmember Kalman Yeager, welcome to the Sanitation Committee, and Councilmember Julie Menon as well. So I have Councilmember Ose, I don't know why I said that, I'm sorry. Ose, and then Botcher.
Thank you, Chair Nurse, and good afternoon, Commissioner. Oh my God, good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
It's been a long day already. Thank you so much for some of the work that you've been doing in terms of expanding composting within my community. It's become very popular for many folks, so popular that many of my constituents now are reaching out to our office because they have concerns with how filled the baskets are. Are there any budget allocations for addressing the filled baskets when it comes to composting?
We are looking at that right now. We have two options. I don't want these bins full, right? I want any New Yorker, or certainly New Yorkers in the neighborhoods where there is service, to show up to a bin or walk a reasonable distance to a bin and like be able to deposit their material in the bin. Doesn't make sense for us to turn customers away here. There's two things we're looking at. In the parts of the city where it is very popular and the bins get filled despite daily service, just daily, we're looking at adding additional bins nearby, maybe putting two bins together, or we could increase our collection service. We're doing the work right now to figure that out. I will say we are thrilled that we have this problem, but I don't want this program to stay around much longer. One thing we saw in Queens, because we were piloting these bins in Astoria, and when we started doing the curbside collection in Queens, the bin usage went down, the smart bin usage went down. So I don't want to put, because Brooklyn is going online in the fall, I don't want to put like solve this program by putting so many additional bins there if they're just going to not be used in a few months.
Absolutely. And just to add, I mean, composting is one of our greatest strategies in tackling the rodent population in the city. In addition to that, it's of course great for our environment. I know that Chair Nurse was speaking about some of the outreach that may or may not have been done in Queens in terms of getting more folks and New Yorkers aware of composting and how to compost. I was just talking to Councilmember Botcher in terms of our participation in composting, and something that seems to be an obstacle for myself, and I'm sure many New Yorkers that want to participate in composting, are composting bags, in terms of going to the curbside composting bins and either having a plastic bag where you're throwing out your organic waste. Is there any amount of money within the DSNY's budget, or are you open to any advocacy on our end in potentially sending out composting bags for New Yorkers, maybe including some information about how to compost as well?
So we haven't sending out bags was not something we did in Queens. And I'll tell you why we didn't do it in Queens. I don't want to confuse people and send them bags and then on the message say, and be sure to put it in a bin, because then they'll be like, wait, what am I doing, bag or bin? Mm-hmm. The answer is most people do either the organic material in the bin or the organic material in a clear plastic bag also in the bin. Mm-hmm. So we didn't do it for that reason. If you think it would be helpful, I'm definitely open to exploring it with you and like pricing it out and figuring out what it would be. But I will say that I do think that the outreach and communication strategy that we used in Queens that we're intending to use also in Brooklyn was really effective. I mean, the very simple messaging, positioning it as a service rather than another thing you gotta do, talking about rats in the parts of Queens where there are big rat problems, and talking about leaves and yard waste in other parts of Queens. Like, I think we nailed the messaging, and one thing I would love to take you up on is to work with you on coming up with the right messaging by neighborhood in Brooklyn so that when we do our outreach, it can be as effective as possible.
Beautiful. And I also want to ask some questions around the Clean Curbs program and containerizing trash. I know that the Bed-Stuy Business Improvement District does have or does participate in the Clean Curbs program. May I have some more time, Chair? In terms of containerizing trash in our business corridor, I would love to hear about some of the efficacy of the Clean Curbs program in terms of just any statistics that you may have on creating cleaner streets in the areas where they have been introduced.
Sure. So as part of the Clean Curbs program, you know, we gave out grants, as you mentioned, to business improvement districts. We gave out grants to 19 bids totaling bids in community organizations totaling $375,000. This was, in my opinion, this was sort of like dipping our toe into containerization. It's not containerization as, you know, you see in Barcelona, et cetera, where there's shared containers on the street, but it's a start. It's a place to start, and I think it's focusing first on the right types of organizations, because we were able to do it, give grants in every borough, so try it out there. And these business improvement districts, they are so focused, bless them, on cleanliness and creating order that we had very willing, active partners and participants in them. The model is not, that is a very important thing, but that is not an expandable containerization model for the rest of the city, mm-hmm. because there with the bids, you have dedicated staff, et cetera, who bring the bags to the bins. Mm-hmm. And so where we are focusing our energy and effort now is moving beyond Clean Curbs to figure out a strategy for how are you going to tackle containerization in with residential trash, which is harder and obviously much bigger.
And one final thing, and I know the chair is going to pull my ear after this, but our district was approved for several sanitation cameras to address illegal dumping, and we'd love to get a timeline on some of these locations. I'll give them to you now, and you could obviously send me an update back, but they're on Atlantic and Franklin, Bainbridge and Lewis Avenue, Broadway and Dodworth, DeKalb and Walworth, Myrtle and Broadway, Nostrand Avenue and Hart Street, Park Avenue and Broadway, and Pulaski and Throop, and Vernon Avenue and Tompkins Avenue.
I'm very happy to tell you that many of the cameras are in. We have agreements in place with the Department of Transportation, who runs the metal poles, and Verizon, that has some of the wooden poles, and Con Ed, that also has some wooden poles, and plans for installation of an additional, I think it's 250 cameras are underway, and cameras are going up now every week.
Okay.
And I will get you the specific dates for when your cameras will be in.
That would be amazing.
Be my
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
They really work. I'm so excited.
That came out of your discretionary funding? Those cameras? Oh, that's a lot of money. I'm going to follow up on that. We all love the, hashtag busted videos. Well, I really enjoy them, of the legal dumping. I think you mentioned that you were budgeting for some more expansion of cameras in your testimony.
Yes.
Can you remind us of those numbers?
I think it was, the mayor gave us $2 million, I think. $2.9 million, sorry, for new cameras.
For 250, I see it, for the summer.
Yeah.
So that's coming out of your budget, and then how are these going to be distributed? Is this?
We are
based on the data?
distributing, first we have an initial tranche of cameras that are up. We have about 50 cameras that are up. We have some council member funds for cameras, and then we are allocating the other funds to supplement where the need is greatest. But there is going to be a distribution among boroughs and council districts, et cetera. It's not going to be like the smart bins where we clump them
Right.
all together.
Do you know how much the council gave for sanitation cameras in FY23?
Approximately $1 million.
$1 million? Okay. Yeah, because the reason why I asked that question is because I know when you're listing that many, I was like, wow, that's
Wait, I
That's
just
a
want to
lot
be
of
clear,
money.
I'm not sure that we can do every single one on his list, but when he's going to get, as you were all going to get,
I was like, wow,
we'll talk.
I didn't
But-
know.
But when
Great.
we are going to be putting, I'm very confident, because we're going to be putting these cameras all over the place, so certainly the districts that really need it will get nice investment.
Okay. I'm going to pass it to Councilmember Menon requested to be bumped up. I know you're at the education hearing, so I'm going to pass it to you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's okay. I think Councilmember Batra can go, and then I'll go after. Yeah? Yeah, you go, and then I'll go right after. Thank you.
Hi, Commissioner. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good, thanks. In last year's budget, we fought for and won a $22 million allocation for corner basket service. You're smiling because you knew I was going to ask about this.
No, I'm smiling because I'm so happy with this extra litter basket service. It really, truly delights me.
So we, as you said in your testimony, we've seen a 50% decrease in 311 calls about overflowing waste baskets
More than.
citywide. In my district, it's much more than that. It's not in this year's budget. The $22 million are not in this year's budget. Why?
Well, we look forward to working with you as part of the adopted budget to make sure that we have appropriate, robust litter basket service. The thing for me that's very important is that I hope you all see that the money that comes to us for litter basket service, we really try to maximize and put to great use. And in sanitation world, it's oftentimes like frustrating because it's hard. Councilmember Ressler always discusses with me, it's hard to find metrics sometimes to show where we're at. Like, I don't have a good metric for how clean the curb lines are or not clean the curb lines are. But we have great metrics around litter baskets. And it's great to see we had the largest year-over-year decrease in complaints about litter basket service ever.
So why wouldn't that be included in this year's budget if it was such a big success?
I think that's the thing, is, that's generally worked out in the adopted budget, but I'll tell you, I really want to continue to run record levels of litter basket service next year, just as we do this year. This mayor is fully committed to cleaning up the city, so I'm sure that the Office of Management and Budget is going to work with the council to make sure that that is something that is appropriately funded.
Well, it sounds like, as commissioner, you're saying this is something we really should do. We've got to do it.
I think all New Yorkers don't want to see overflowing litter baskets in their community. And I mean, I was among the New Yorkers that lost my mind for those 2 years when all litter baskets were overflowing. My interest is in seeing the litter baskets cleaned appropriately and regularly, and more litter baskets in New York City where they're needed.
Is $22 million the right number? Was that the right number for this past fiscal year, this current fiscal year? How much do you need to really address these litter baskets?
So I just want to point out, I have even better news on litter baskets. It wasn't just the $22 million. So the $22 million was the service that we run to cover the 23,000 litter baskets that the Department of Sanitation puts on the streets, generally largely on commercial corridors. This year, the mayor funded the Department of Sanitation to do supplemental service on thousands more litter baskets, specifically those on the perimeters of parks, which were overflowing all the time, that are regularly serviced by the Parks Department, and also those on the East River bridges that were serviced by the Department of Transportation. So we got millions of dollars this year for the first time, regularly empty not just the 23,000 litter baskets that we manage, but also litter baskets in other highly trafficked areas that we may not be managing.
Is that money included in this budget, or was that also one-off?
No, I think that was baselined. So that funding is baselined.
Right. So how much do you need in this year's budget for litter basket service that's not in this proposed budget?
Well, in last year's budget, in the adopted budget, there was $22 million allocated to litter basket service. I think we're seeing really good data coming out of that level of investment. I'll never turn down more.
Was that enough for twice a day, 6-day-a-week pickup?
I think based on the data, it is enough. For some baskets require more than twice a day pickup and get more than twice a day pickup. I think, and some baskets, frankly, don't need twice a day pickup. So I think it was enough to make the baskets in New York City work. But it's every basket is different.
Sounds like a must-do in this
Yes.
year's budget. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
I think just one other question on that was if, how much would it cost to baseline that? So we're not asking, the council isn't having to negotiate that every single year.
Yeah, so the difference between baselining and not is when we don't baseline, it's run on overtime.
Yeah.
And when we baseline, it's run on straight time.
Yes.
And so when we gave you, when we were discussing the twice a week service twice a day service for
service,
every basket, which I don't think is necessary, but that is 22 million baselined, straight time. What we did was 22 million overtime.
Okay. So I think just to get more clarity on what Councilmember Botcher was asking, we knew that that was going to be run on an overtime project. How far did that funding go in the fiscal year?
It goes all
continue
year.
to-
That will get us through the end of the year.
Okay, because we were told a little bit different.
My understanding is,
Okay. And so,
we scaled it to last the full year.
yeah.
okay. And when we had a hearing at the end of last year, we went into detail about that it wasn't every single basket twice per day, 6 days a week. It was based on the discretion of the data and what your workers see as like the most important basket. So it seemed to be a lot of flexibility around that.
There is.
Okay. So we don't have a number for how much it would need to baseline it, unless I'm missing something.
I don't have a number right here. I mean, obviously, the 22 million was a good number, and that was the number that when you asked last year, what would it cost, just because we can't go basket by basket, what would it cost, just to ballpark, twice a day service, all 23,000 litter baskets, baseline, that's 22 million.
Okay. Okay. And then one other litter basket question since we're on there, and then I'll pass it over to you just to continue the track of questioning. So DSNY committed to a $25 million contract to procure new litter baskets, which we're excited about, as part of the Better Bin NYC competition. Can you share a little bit more why the Quebec-based vendor was selected?
Why the vendor was selected?
Yes.
Sure. Which one of you want to talk about that procurement?
Yeah, so we put out a bid last summer in August, and they were the lowest responsible bidder for that contract.
For the cheapest. And then what is...
For the lowest, sorry. They were the lowest responsible bidder. If I remember correctly, we got other, right?
There were like 4 that we knocked out.
Yeah, we knocked out 4 that came in at lower prices because they were not able to deliver what was needed.
Okay. And then what is the kind of rollout plan for, or any plan to replace older baskets across the city?
The first of the new litter baskets are coming in June, which is great. The contract was registered like a month ago-ish, and we ordered the bins as soon as the contract was registered. But that's not going to be, it's not going to make a meaningful chunk out of
How many
the
bins
litter
is that
baskets.
first kind of batch?
The initial order was for 330 that are supposed to arrive before June 30th. And then the idea is to buy more of these in fiscal year 24. And I would like to see a meaningful number in fiscal year 24 of our mesh litter baskets replaced.
And is that budgeted for?
That's something that we're working on.
You're working on, okay. Okay. I'm going to pass it to Councilmember Menon.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Chair. So a couple questions, Commissioner, that I have. I know you provided an update on the smart composting bins across the city. In my district, we don't have any yet. Can you provide an update on what, because there was a lot of clamoring in the district for them?
You're going to get them this summer. We ordered 150 additional smart composting bins for Manhattan because Manhattan is the last borough to get curbside service. And so those 150 are coming in before June 30th. We speak to the vendor every day to make sure. And they'll be installed this summer.
This summer, okay, thank you. I know you testified earlier about the new waste set-out times. What is the fiscal impact on the department's budget?
None really, although not based on like the new set-out times. Although, no, we did an outreach campaign. Was 2.7 million, 3 million? $3.5 million, $3.5 million outreach campaign.
And speaking of outreach, I understand that the department's Public Information Division budget remains constant for fiscal year 2024 at $2.4 million. Given the fact that there are a lot of programs that need outreach,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about why it's constant?
I think before you got here, we were discussing that for the organics program, that was announced, unfortunately, after the preliminary budget. So you'll see in the executive budget all the costs of the organics program, but among them, funding for outreach for the organics program. For other programs, like for example, the rollout of the commercial waste zones, there is money budgeted and allocated for outreach, and we're working, that's where I got my $2.7 million number for. I was thinking that. We have $2.7 million budgeted for outreach associated with the rollout of commercial waste zones, but that's not reflected in the budget for our public information unit. It's reflected in the budget for our commercial waste zones bureau.
Okay, got it. So you've bifurcated that. So the commercial waste zones has its own, as we talked about, the chair and I in our hearing, you've got your own public outreach for that. That it's not in this, obviously not in the 2.4 million.
Yes.
Okay. In terms of Sanitation's Enforcement Division, can you give a breakdown of enforcement personnel by borough?
I unfortunately don't have the numbers by borough. I have the enforcement activity by borough, but not the staffing by borough. Would the activity be helpful?
Yeah, sure, the activity would be
Okay.
helpful.
Please hold. Okay. Okay. So if we're looking at would year-to-date numbers, or do you want to see last year?
Sure.
Year-to-date. Let's just do year-to-date. So this is like January 1st until March 5th. Manhattan, for 23. Manhattan had about almost 23,000 summonses. Do you want me to go through all
Yeah,
the
how does that
boroughs?
compare to the other
All right.
boroughs?
It is below Bronx, Brooklyn North, Brooklyn South. It is slightly above Queens West. It is above Queens East, and it is certainly above Staten Island.
Okay, could you give those to the committee, and can we also get it for last year by borough?
Yeah, I have that.
So we can see the breakdown.
Yeah, you can get that today, for
by
sure.
activity. Okay,
Yep.
thank you. That is helpful. The department's waste export funding with private vendors had increased for fiscal year 2024 to $478 million. Can you explain what accounts for the increase?
Yeah, so those increases are largely driven by contractual increases that are set by various indicators related, I think, mostly related to the inflation that we're seeing. So that drives the increase in cost.
And is it expected that that's going to continue over the coming years?
We expect that. We look at it on an annual basis and project out based on inflationary projections.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna go to Councilmember Farias and then Yeager.
Thank you, Chair. Just have a couple of quick follow-up questions from the engagement we had that sparked in my brain. So, when speaking about the baseline, the potentiality of baseline funding for the services for litter basket pickup, it sounded like to me that where the work is getting done with overtime personnel and resources, is that directly related to that we just don't have the resources to actually baseline and make it a part of regular time? Like we don't have enough personnel and or enough
No, the way it
routes?
works is When it's baseline, we hire additional sanitation workers
Okay, so
for
it's like
it.
a
And when it's
mandatory
not
hire.
baseline, we just run it on overtime.
Okay, so there's, the only difference is like when and if something is baseline, we're mandated to hire the additional personnel to
Right,
carry
the
on that load.
baselining comes with more people to do the thing.
Okay, perfect. And then just a follow-up to the Quebec, sorry, mispronunciation, based vendor. Is there a percentage of DSNY contracts that need to be New York City-based vendors and/or US-based vendors, or do we not have that rule at all? And it's just, when we put out the RFP, it's lowest responsible bid?
We don't have our own procurement rules, we follow the city's procurement.
Okay, so
Guidelines
the
on
city
that.
procurement rule is just open. Got it, great. And then I'd like to ask some vacancy questions. So between the November plan and the fiscal 2024 preliminary plan, 96 budgeted civilian positions were cut. Although DSNY does not have the high vacancy rates agency-wide, having a fully staffed agency is necessary to ensure the performance of DSNY's important services. So, does DSNY have a breakdown of the specific positions that are being cut from the 2024 preliminary budget?
Yes, I'm just trying to open to it. You asked for the
Specific positions,
that
titles?
were cut?
Yes.
Yeah, where is that on here? Hold on one second. Hold on, I'm so sorry.
Okay, take your time.
Here it is. I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay, so in the November plan, we lost 68 positions, 34 sanitation enforcement agents, 10 associate enforcement agents, and then 24 other various civilian positions, largely some clerical, and 3 legal positions.
Okay.
In the January, was it the January plan? Yeah. In the January plan, we lost 28 positions, and we are working with OMB now to identify the specific positions to be eliminated.
Okay, great. It sounds like we've lost a lot more from enforcement. And so my question was going to be, there are some divisions that have higher vacancies like enforcement. When do we plan to be fully staffed up for enforcement?
When do we plan to be fully staffed up for enforcement? I think we are fully staffed
Okay.
for enforcement, but if there are questions or concerns, or you feel like there's not enough enforcement in your district, I'm happy to discuss that with you and make allocations as necessary.
Sure, I can definitely follow up, and I'll follow up with the chair too, once we see that enforcement activity by borough data that you folks will send over, and really look at the specific positions and the breakdown of vacancies. And then just the last thing I do want to ask, are there any areas of concern around the vacancies that we have, or the potentiality of losing some of those positions, or specifically around enforcement?
I feel good about where this agency is. I mean, overall, we are 4% above our budgeted headcount, which I understand is unusual today. And I just want to mention, we're generally above our budgeted headcount because we do our hiring at the beginning of the fiscal year, and then we attrit out by the end of the fiscal year. But I feel very good about certainly our uniform staffing, which is the highest it's been in 2 decades. But I also feel pretty good about where we are with our civilian staffing levels. We're doing a bunch of hiring now to fill some vacancies, not an overwhelming number of vacancies, but we're doing some hiring now that the 2-for-1 hiring process was done away with, and I think this agency is in a good place.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jess.
Thank you. On the mark, skilled. I invite Councilmember Yeager to ask questions.
I don't think I could do as well on the clock.
never works for me. Good morning, Commissioner, and thank you very much for being here. Like I said, I'm on the clock, so I don't really have a lot of time to go through some of the things that I love about what you've been doing with the agency. We did meet a couple of days ago. You came to our neighborhood. I'm very grateful for that. And I think that's part of what you've been doing is going around the city yourself and seeing it with your own eyes, and that's incredibly important for this kind of agency, particularly almost more than any other agency, for a commissioner to actually see it. The tech-driven approach, it's the cutting the red tape and going and picking up everybody else's schmutz, even if another agency is responsible for it. That's stuff that it's been bugging me forever. You're all on it. I really am grateful. The dumping, the cameras, grabbing people's cars, the offenders, that is huge accolades for me on that, because that is something that's really been the bane of our existence in our neighborhoods, and I know your eyes are on it. So that was the praise. It's not criticism, but I want to follow up on something that Councilwoman Menon asked about the change of time and as it reflects on the budget of the agency. And this is something that's really seems to me to be revenue neutral, changing the clock and when trash is put out. So I'm not going to talk about residences. I want to focus something on businesses. One of the problems I think we have a lot of times when we do both us statutes and agencies when they do rules is this one-size-fits-all rule that we try to impose on an entire city, and we are so many tiny little cities and towns and villages that not everything we do works everywhere. Particularly with regard to small businesses, and as an example, let's say a 9-to-5 operation in a storefront, that a lawyer's office, an accountant's office, a clothing store. They close at 5 o'clock. They don't have food refuse in their trash. They don't have place to store bins with covers. So what's been going on is obviously they put the trash out, they have private carting, it doesn't cost the city anything to go get it. The 8 p.m. rule, the 6 p.m. if you have a bin, it really doesn't fit that segment of business in New York. Is there any thought to perhaps making a kind of a separate category where even if you maybe certify that you don't have food refuse, or that your refuse is, just paper, trash, etc., that you can get out of that 8 p.m. rule? Because honestly, the problem that I see is it's beyond compliance, because people just are not going to be able to do it because they don't want to, but literally they're gone from their businesses at 5 p.m. They can't put their trash out.
Yeah, so thank you. And this gives me an opportunity to clear up, I think, a misconception that hopefully the outreach we're doing this month will address. There are different rules for businesses and residences. Residences has like the 8 p.m., 6 p.m. 6 p.m. in a bid, 8 p.m. on the curb. For businesses, it's slightly different. For businesses, it's, again, no black bags on the curb before 8 p.m., but if you want to set your trash out before 8 p.m., you can continue to do so an hour before closing as you do today, but if that time that you close, an hour before that time, is before 8 p.m., it's got to be in a bin with a lid. From my perspective, this change in set out times is at least a decade overdue. I know that change is difficult, and this is a change that affects every resident and every business in our city, but it is a change that absolutely has to happen. I mean, we, New Yorkers, businesses and residences, put out about 45 million pounds of trash and recycling every day, and it sits on our curbs on every block in every neighborhood for 14 hours a day. And that is why New York City is known as Trash City. Like, unfortunately, we don't have alleyways. Underground is more complicated than above ground. And so we need to make a change. We need to limit the amount of time that the bags spend on the curb, and where possible, we need containers.
So I'm going to agree with you on everything, except for the part that I don't know that we call Trash City. I hope we're not. I don't call it that, but if others
I don't
are-
either, but people do.
Okay, let's make that not happen. But I want to focus specifically on this type of industry. Can I, Madam Chair, just another minute? Because it's not meeting the complaint-driven issue that you're focused on, the smelly trash, the disgusting trash. We're talking about small businesses, 2, 3, 4, 5 bags, whatever it is. Maybe there can be some kind of smaller business exception, particularly when it's not rat food. Then the follow-up question, because I see you nodding your head no, so I'll take that as what do they do with the bins during the day? What's the
Okay.
answer to that?
So the answer is, we get this question from, this change affects every business and every residence. And it is not particularly onerous. It was written in a way to try to go out of our way not to be particularly onerous, but nonetheless to get the change that is absolutely required. And frankly, the change that has been made in almost every other major city in the world. I mean, 4 p.m. is the earliest set-out time of any city in the world. So something had to change. What we've said is, if people are gonna set their trash out before 8 p.m., they can do so in a bin. They can store the bin indoors, they can store the bin outdoors if it's lined up against the property and kept neat and orderly. We cannot go out and do site visits and tell each business owner or property owner where to put their bin. It's just something that New Yorkers are going to have to do. The bins aren't very large. They're 55 gallons or less. It's done in almost every other city in the world. It's just something New York has to take the leap now.
So last question on that, and this is the last question. So typically, can't store things outside your business. That's a sanitation violation. It may be other agencies. Are you saying that with this rule change, that would be okay for businesses to store these? Let's say they have 5, 6 bins. Figure out a way, if you can't stack them, line them up outside the store orderly. That's okay to leave them there for 24 hours a day, except for the time that they're putting out in the front?
That's correct. The guidance we're giving to businesses is that they can leave them abutting the storefront within the sort of 3-foot area, as long as they're orderly and not creating an obstruction on the
See how we
sidewalk.
can make it work then. Okay. Thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember. Just following up on that with the rule change, a lot of not all, there's been a lot of changes in the litter baskets, but we still have a lot of the open wire baskets. So we're asking commercial businesses to put their stuff out with a lid, and we still have a lot of corner baskets that are just wide open. And I know that it's easier for the worker to come in and swoop it up, but.
Oh, we're getting rid of those. That's
Right,
what
so I'm just saying, but the implementation timeline of this rule change is faster than necessarily all of the other ones that are old are still there. And I know you mentioned what you mentioned earlier, but I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I think what you're seeing in the Adams administration, not everything is happening on the same day, but a lot is happening, both on sustainability and cleanliness. And these rules for set-out times are going into effect in April. We already have the contract to replace the litter baskets. We're planning to replace the litter baskets. It's just, you can't have everything happen on the same day. Just the world doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I wish it did.
Great. I'm gonna finish our line of questioning on organics. It's about 5 questions, then I'll give the floor back to Salmanka, but I wanna finish this line. Okay, so back to organics. Sanitation has said the full $38.1 million cost for the program would not be realized until fiscal year 2027. Given the announcement of the program, has the program rolling out citywide by the end of calendar year 24, can you explain the delay in realizing the full cost of the program?
Yes, and I think this is going to be easy to understand. Sanitation workers get paid more as they go up in number of years served. So the change in cost doesn't represent a different number of new sanitation workers, it just represents their pay, the pay scale.
So the annual pay increase. Okay. In terms of the smart bin costs, you mentioned that the school trucks are taking care of the collections. How much? How much?
Mostly the school
Right.
trucks.
How much does that program cost, including collections and tech platform?
So we don't, because it's mostly the school trucks, we don't assign a cost just to the smart bins. Like they'll do their schools and then they'll do the bins. The smart bins are $3,000 per bin just to buy them, and then there's an annual maintenance and tech cost. Do you know what those are for the smart bins? If not, we can get right back to them.
We'll get it back.
We'll
but
get it
it's
back.
nominal compared to the 3,000.
Okay, okay. And the app development and all of that
That was,
included in the.
included in the cost, okay. I had a question about how is DSNY promoting the use of the smart bins? We got a lot of feedback, both from members and community, that they kind of just were there, and that some of it, mostly in English. The app is primarily in English.
well, the app is actually not primarily in English. The app is in all of the local law languages.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I had
that's-
it up here, so I was trying to figure out how to get Spanish.
I think it's if you set your phone to a different language, then that's how the app reads it, but we can make that clearer.
Yeah, I
But we
think that
did
would be-
translate all of the content in the app into all of, it was like over 10, I think it's like 13 different languages. And that actually took a
Okay.
few weeks to
So
do.
if your phone is set to a certain language, the app will be in that language?
That is my
automatically?
understanding.
Okay.
That is what I was
Okay.
told, although my phone is set to English, so I'm gonna
Okay.
go and change the, and
Yeah,
just
I
make sure that it
pulled
works.
it down, I was like, I don't understand how to get to another language, but, and then in terms of on the bins, we have a bunch of.
Greg did it yesterday.
Yeah.
It works.
During the panel. I
Okay, great. And on the bins itself, is there multiple languages or language to indicate in other languages that there's other languages available?
The bins, I believe, have the website on them, and I believe on the website it says that, but I will take the feedback, and I think it's good feedback about the exterior of the bins. We redesigned the exterior of the bins to make it so simple and clean, so there wasn't a tremendous amount of information, and we used a lot of visual images, like the pictures of the different foods and the pictures of yard waste. But I will take the feedback that the bins should account for language accessibility, or at least explain how it gets there.
Yeah, and perhaps, community district specific.
Absolutely.
Like we have them in Bushwick, but Bushwick is primarily Spanish speaking. And in other areas, I imagine that would be a lot different. So, okay, that's helpful to know. 2 more questions on this line of questioning. Community composters like Big Reuse and LES Ecology have faced challenges with space and capacity recently. How is DSNY supporting and factoring in community compost processing sites to the larger organics composting plan?
As we discussed yesterday, our community composters we stand on their shoulders today, certainly rolling out a curbside, citywide curbside organics program. Their role's going to change, but they're going to, and their role has changed, I think, as curbside organics has rolled out in fits and starts in New York City. But one of the things that we're doing is working with that community to carve out the right role for them as once the city moves to universal curbside collection. My initial thoughts is that they should continue to play a very important, if not more important, role in the education around composting.
And just to confirm, there's $7 million in funding for food scrap drop-off.
Baseline.
And it's baselined, and it's included for FY
Yep.
'24. Okay, and do you anticipate including funding for food scrap drop-off sites in future years?
I think we need to talk about that because, frankly, the smart bins accomplish the same goal. And so I think we need to find the right balance between food scrap drop-off sites and smart bins and curbside composting. I don't have that answer right now, but we have limited resources and we have to make the most out of the limited resources that we have. Certainly there is a place and a role for food scrap drop-offs, but it's a balance that we're gonna have to all work together to strike.
Right, I mean, these groups can have primarily, I would say, have relied on DSNY funding for a long time. So removing of that, I think if that is going to be the case, which I don't necessarily think it should be the case, although I understand your argument, I think would just need a longer period of dialogue that's like very like consistent and structured around that. Okay, last question around organics, I believe. So we understand DSNY, DEP, and DCAS initiated a new study on organic resource recovery for decarbonization. Can you share more information about the goals of the study and the progress made to date?
Yeah, so that study, I believe, just moved over to DEP. It was originally led by DCAS. And that's, I think, looking at some of the longer term questions that you were speaking to earlier, Chair. So looking at things like, how can we maximize the use of the DEP digesters? How can we maximize the beneficial use of all of the products, the renewable natural gas, the biosolids that are coming out of those? So it's certainly looking to balance all of those things and come up with a long-term plan for what we do with the millions and millions of pounds of organics that we are planning to collect.
Right, and just, I mean, I'm like really looking forward to going to look at the biosolids with DEP. Do you all play a role in the output at all of that material coming from the digesters, or is that strictly DEP?
Yeah, that's strictly DEP. We do have regular conversations with them, and we are trying to hold them accountable to their commitments for beneficial biosolids for use. I think their commitment is 100% beneficial use by the end of the decade, and I think they're about 50% of the way there today.
And my understanding is some of that material gets limed and landfilled, and so that is a cost that would be associated with DEP, not with sanitation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Okay, I'm gonna pass, I wanted to recognize Councilmember Gennaro, who was here for a second. I'm gonna pass it to Councilmember Salamanca for some questions, and then we'll resume.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Commissioner. First, I want to give you a shout out again. These surveillance cameras are a hit in my community. I'm getting calls from different community board members and businesses alike. Just happy to know that we are catching individuals that are illegally dumping. I have two very basic questions. One is a very popular conversation in my district, dog poop. Dog poop continues to be an issue in my community. I don't know if it is in your community, Madam Chair. And so my question is, how do we enforce that? And before I get to it, so prior to being a council member, I was a district manager, something that I worked with then Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. on tackling. Back then, when we spoke with sanitation, they said that they had maybe 7 inspectors citywide, and many times they would have to do stakeouts to catch the individuals who's not picking up after their dog. And many times they did not carry ID on them. And
Got it.
so issuing violations was difficult because the options were to take them to a precinct, and they
Got
did
it.
not want to do that. So how do we enforce dog poop
So,
violators?
this is a topic I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about, and it's one where I don't, we don't have an effective strategy today. You are 100% right that the enforcement is not as productive as it could be, because oftentimes when our enforcement agents stop people for not cleaning up after their dogs, they say that they don't have their ID, and we don't want to lock people up for it, because I feel like that would be inappropriate. But it is a conundrum, because it's a big problem, and it's a big problem in a lot of different parts of the city. I've started to look at what other cities do that have a similar problem. One city has a dog DNA database, and they take these samples and they check it against the dog DNA database. That seems like overkill. I'm not saying we're doing this in New York City. I really don't want a headline tomorrow that this is what we're doing in New York City. So one city does that. There are various different approaches, but it's a problem here, and I don't have a great answer, unfortunately, today.
All right, I have more. I have another question. I don't want to take up all my time, but something that I am willing to work with you, whether it is I see many gardens, and some of my nature developments, they have these, I don't want to call them containers, but these dog poop bags where individuals can take them and they can pick up after their dogs. I don't know if that's an option or a program that sanitation can try to pilot in areas where not picking up after your dog is extremely common. But that's just an idea. My other question, because this is actually a very serious one for my community. I have two bids. I have the Southern Boulevard bid and the 3rd Avenue bid. Extremely busy avenues. And then I have my homeowners. What are the hours that sidewalk has to be clean for a business and a homeowner to get a violation?
Well, I'll start by saying I don't think the hours are long enough, and I think our sidewalks, we talk about the city not looking clean, our sidewalks are the responsibility of the property owners, and even inside of the hours, we just see that not enough property owners are doing what they need to do to help keep the city clean. But to answer your very specific question.
Yeah, and as you answer that, the reason, my concept is, I think hours should be different for business owners than property owners, than homeowners, right? Someone that's a homeowner normally works, the hours of whatever, 8 hours a day, let's say. And they're not home physically to clean, but they should before they leave, and they should when they get home from work. Business owners are there all day, and so standards should be higher for them. But go ahead, please.
Yeah, so the current hours, it's 2 hours a day for each type of property. They are different for residential and commercial. For residential, it's 8 to 8:59 a.m. and 6 to 6:59 p.m., so before and after.
Those are the hours that the inspectors are allowed to give violations.
For dirty sidewalks specifically.
For residential.
And for commercial, it's 2 1-hour periods during the day. They vary by district, and you can find those on our website or by calling 311.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, and just to follow up on the dog poop trauma, I know that DP also gives away stuff like that. Has DSNY just considered running like a public awareness campaign?
Yes.
And one of the things we talk about is, or that we've used that really grosses people out, that they teach in the Rat Academy, is like rats love to eat dog poop. And that really freaks people out. I mean, whatever, this is what we're talking about, but I'm looking at the faces in the crowd and I'm like, it's disgusting. You know, it's like the rats feast on dog poop and like hammering that message home and people are really like blown away. I know Councilmember Botcher had an ad campaign about
We have a really good one.
Yeah, okay.
That's coming that I think is like worthy of like the DSNY brand these days, doing things that are sort of out there. So I don't want to get out ahead of it, but we do have a great outreach campaign in the works for that issue.
Awesome. Did you have a question? Yeah.
I apologize if Councilmember Salamanca asked this, but in your testimony, you talk about an 80% increase in summonses over the past year.
Not generally, just summonses for cleanliness-related violations.
Great. What has the increase been, if any, on the pooper scooper violations? What are the numbers year over year?
They are, I don't have those because I just have the top ones, but they are higher than they were a year ago, but nowhere near where we would like them to be given the problem. And what I was discussing with Councilmember Salamanca is it's certainly not for a lack of trying. Like when we our enforcement agents stop someone for that violation, they oftentimes the person will say they're not carrying their ID. And then do you really want to bring them into the precinct for it? I mean, our policy has been no, but that has led to some of the issues with it.
Do you have numbers on how many violations were issued?
Yeah, I can get those to you.
Okay. Is it like 100 citywide for the entire year, or is it 1,000?
Oh, we can definitely get them to your office. Again, it's higher than it was, but it's not going to be meaningful to me or you.
Have those challenges always been the same with enforcing pooper scooper laws? Because I was under the impression that they were effective historically. Are they no longer effective?
You know, we're going to have to look at the history of it, but what I can tell you is that our enforcement agents report that when they go to write these violations, if people tell them they're not carrying ID, and then it's a problem.
The number of enforcement agents, are those enforcement agents that are dedicated to, is it the same enforcement agents who write for the storefronts in front of the sidewalks and for residential and commercial litter, or is this a special unit?
The enforcement agents work in borough-based teams, and they can do residential, or they can write residential and commercial violations.
I think one of the issues now is that folks just don't feel that they're going to be in danger of getting a ticket. That's my impression. Our outreach campaign last year and all the press we got around it, I think actually was effective. And I actually had a dog owner complain to me that she was getting yelled at to pick up after her dog even before she had a chance to pick it up. When we created a kind of a frenzy around the issue.
Which is why we have an outreach campaign on this issue in the works for the spring.
Great, thank you.
Okay, great. We're gonna, we have a few questions on the preliminary mayor's management report. For years, DSNY has undershot their diversion rate goals. You've said that the citywide curbside organics and the commercial waste zone projects are the two biggest things DSNY could do to improve that rate. Does DSNY have a target diversion rate in mind, or a phasing up of a diversion rate?
I don't have a target diversion rate in mind, as we've discussed previously, but I know I want to put our resources to biggest opportunities. And in my mind, as you mentioned, the biggest opportunity is around organics, which is why we've not just announced a universal curbside organics program. Like, for me, like that would be a lot. But we've also invested in the smart bins, and we've invested in teaching our children the habits and giving them the muscle memory they need so that as they grow up, they will be composters, and hopefully they will also bring it home to their parents.
Okay, DSNY did not release any data on the amount of organics diverted so far in FY23 in the PMMR. Do you have any of those numbers yet?
Yeah. Do you have that list? Oh, here it is. Oh, I'm sorry. I do not have the FY23 numbers yet, but we will get you the FY23 numbers when they come out.
Okay. And so you don't have a diversion rate in mind, so you won't have a target number for the curbside program once fully implemented yet?
Correct.
Okay. Is there work, are you in discussions around figuring out what that target is, or you just don't want to put a target on it?
You know, I think we learned a lot from the first 3 months in Queens. We overperformed our expectations. And I think that we need some more time to see what the participation level is going to be.
Okay. And then in terms of, we've talked a lot about litter baskets and service data. Will that also, do you have any of that data around smart bins? In terms of
the service level?
Yeah.
Yeah, we empty the smart bins once a day with the school trucks. Okay. Usually with the school trucks.
And do you empty it? I know that they're, if I'm correct, I haven't used them yet because I still use a different community composter service, but
they're in your district.
They're right in front of my house, but I'm still supporting something else. They're based on phasing, right? It's automatic, right? If it's full, it like it's a smart bin, it lets the thing know, right? Or, so I guess my question is, if it's not full at all, do you still service it daily?
Yes, they all get serviced.
Okay.
And the reason why is, like, there's still, in the app, there's 3 colors. It's really easy to use. I hope you like it. I designed it.
I have it now on my phone.
Okay. So in the app, there's 3 colors. One color is like green, like there's plenty of space available, please use. Red is full, so you can't open the full ones. And then there's like a grayish color, which is like almost full. So
give it a shot.
We service them whether they're green, gray, or red. And the reason why is green may still have material in it. It's just not full, and we don't want to keep it sitting there for a long time. So we just service them every day.
Okay.
With our school trucks.
Although our office does use the bin. I don't use the bin, but our office does. So.
Do they like it?
I think so.
Oops.
It's a new program in the district office. So. Okay. I just wanted to touch on rat mitigation. So the council passed a slate of bills last year. We were really excited about it. A lot of that had to deal with the Department of Health. But I know last year we gave almost $5 million for rat mitigation. Can you talk a little bit about how that money was used, or if there was if any of that was within DSNY, how was that used, and how are you coordinating with other agencies around rat mitigation strategies?
Okay. So of that money, we got $4 million for our containerization study, which is well underway, and we plan to release a public report in the coming weeks, I hope, about everything that we learned about containerization.
Sorry, just to clarify, so out of the 4.8, you used $4 million for the study.
We actually had
Or is that
budgeted
separate
$4
money?
million for the study. The study ended up being much less expensive than what was budgeted for, so we're looking, or what was needed now, so we're looking to move some of that money to next year.
Okay. So that was what, with the council funding added, that study was funded by that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then what other rat mitigation strategies has DSNY employed with any of that money?
I'm not sure.
Well, what is the rat mitigation?
So let's just go over the rat mitigation strategy. I don't want to do it by budget source, but we can get all of that to you. There are a huge number of rat mitigation strategies citywide, and I'll speak today to the ones at DSNY. First, obviously, is the change of the set-out times. Shrinking the amount of time that the black bags spend on the streets, shutting down the all-night, all-you-can-eat rat buffet. That, in my mind, is one of the biggest things we can do in New York City to take the fight to the rats, because we know that 1/3 of the material in the bags is food, which is rat food. Second massive thing that we can do in the fight against rats is roll out universal curbside organic collection and get the food out of the black bags once and for all. So those two things in my mind are massive, and both programs are not just announced, but like in implementation or like on the verge of implementation. Third thing that we need to do is make big pushes in the area of containerization there too. It's something that's been talked about for a decade in New York City. No progress was made. This year alone, we did Clean Curbs pilot, working with 19 different bids, gave almost $400,000 worth of grants. We have a residential pilot underway. But we've also done a study of much broader containerization use in New York City, the details of which will be released shortly. In my opinion, based on everything we've seen, if we roll out containerization in New York City, shared containers, it will represent one of the most complicated infrastructure projects that the city takes on over the next decade. It is not as easy as putting a dumpster on a street. It is doable, but it's hard. And I think when that report is released, it will communicate where the complexities are. But among them, given the mountains of trash we have today in New York City, you could make a gigantic container. It won't be big enough for the mountains unless we increase our service levels. In most cities that have true containerization, they don't collect 2 or 3 times a week as we do in New York City. They collect 7 times a week, sometimes even 14 times a week. They do it twice a day in some big cities. The trucks that are needed here to do this at scale and safely in New York City, they don't exist in North America. They exist in Europe, and so we're working with the truck manufacturers to address trucks. What are the implications for parking? Is there even enough curb space in New York City to be able to accommodate the number of bins that are required? These are among the things.
So these are primarily future-oriented
studying.
This is like setting up the groundwork for more robust rat mitigation. In the past, we've had things like an extra pickup service or things like that. So for this fiscal year, beyond the more future-oriented work, which is important and great, what were
this fiscal year you got the highest level of litter basket service ever performed in New York City. You got the design and investment in a new litter basket of the future, which is rolling out next fiscal year, basically like this summer, late spring, early summer. You got the universal curbside organics with a massive pilot in the entire borough of Queens. You have the change of set-out times, which takes effect on April 1st, and unprecedented levels of midnight collection from the Department of Sanitation.
What was the midnight collection levels?
It was about 25%.
25%. Okay. Is there any capital funding for rat mitigation in the newest capital commitment plan?
I don't believe so right now.
And then just in terms of what you all were able to do in the pilot with the Queens Organic, were you all coordinating at all with DOH to start to track, you know, I don't know what I'm saying, like the rodent population, or
Yeah.
how are you talking with them as you're rolling out these more robust?
So the mayor's office convenes regular rat meetings with a huge number of agencies that have parts to play. And yes, DOH is at those meetings, and I don't think in 3 months there is enough data to draw meaningful conclusions, but we will certainly be looking as that data becomes available and we roll this out more broadly to closely track the data associated with those programs.
Okay, moving on to capital projects. The largest capital project in DSNY's capital commitment plan is the replacement of garages 9, 10, and 11. What is the timeline for this project?
Do you have a timeline for it?
So this project is incredibly complicated. Do you want to? It's incredibly complicated because there are 3 garages on one parcel right now. One of those 3 garages is a former incinerator built sometime in the 30s. So there's not only do we have to build a new garage, but we have to demolish the existing buildings and keep servicing those 3 community boards with the essential sanitation services. So the first step starting in 2024 is to build out temporary swing space. Once that's completed, we can begin the demolition of the existing facilities, and then after that, sometime around 2027, begin the construction of the new facility.
For which one is that, 9, 10, or 11, or are you talking about?
That's all 3.
All 3, okay. And did Brooklyn 16, I'm asking from my district, did 16, was that renovated?
Brooklyn 16?
I don't have anything on that one.
Okay.
Are you sure you have the right number?
It was a question of, has it been renovated, Brooklyn 16?
We can get back to you
Okay.
with any recent work.
Oh, here. It's Brooklyn, 16. The rehabilitation is funded for a total of $19 million in 23, 25, and 26. Sorry about that.
Okay. And then I know last year in our hearing, we had talked about facilities without women's restrooms. What is the number of garages left without women's restrooms?
Blessedly, a month from now, it's going to be 0.
Okay.
Like, it took entirely too long to have women's restrooms in all the garages, but the final garage, the work is underway and is going to be complete next month. Yeah. Next month.
Okay. We've had some concerns raised that the fleet of collection trucks are aging and downtime for repairs are up. While we discussed truck needs for the organics program, we wanted to know broadly about the state of the fleet. I know we had a hearing about this. Can you provide by borough the number of trucks beyond the 7-year useful life? And does DSNY have a plan to purchase new collection trucks?
So I can tell you that we are in a much better place on fleet right now than we were just a few months ago, and that is because of what I believe are unprecedented investments in our fleet. In the January plan, the mayor put $100 million into DSNY's budget to buy new trucks. On top of that, as you know, we ordered $75 million of new trucks for the organics program, which means we won't have to save old trucks that don't work longer than their useful life. And that is on top of the money that had previously, naturally been budgeted for truck purposes. As these new trucks have start to roll in, we're also seeing a corresponding decrease in our outage rates. Our dual bins are down to about 19%. Our collections are about 23%. So we're doing much better on our trucks than I think my last report. Again, not perfect, but we have so many trucks that are coming in that I only expect those numbers to come down.
Right. And then I know we had talked about this in the fleet hearing. The mayor had announced $6.2 million for electric vehicles, and you've probably covered this in the last hearing, but just for the purposes of today, what is the timeline for the procurement of the hybrid street sweepers and the all-electric refuse trucks?
So the street sweepers, there are 7 of them, the electric ones. They are expected by the end of the year. And there we're looking to add additional electric cleaning vehicles going forward. The 7 electric collection trucks that we procured are expected in June of this year. But there, as we discussed at length at the last hearing, I am not anticipating making significant additional investments on the rear loaders, on the collection trucks, because they can't plow snow yet.
Right, yes. And then for those 7 that are coming in, are those primarily going to be based in together in one district, or are they being spread throughout?
I'd like to see them spread throughout, and some of the work that we're doing now, because as you know, we're electrifying our light duty fleet, is putting in place an appropriate level of charging capacity for these vehicles. It's hard with the rear loaders in particular, because we don't yet have a go forward strategy, because the state of that technology isn't where it needs to be for us to make this the go forward strategy, but I would like to see them spread out.
Okay. Last question around trucks. As these trucks that are aging kind of come out of service, where do they go? Because I know, for example, there was an announcement a while ago about donating some trucks to Puerto Rico, or a truck or 2 to Puerto Rico. And in my mind, I was like, well, these aren't, I question the level of capacity in Puerto Rico to make use of these trucks long-term and overall maintenance of them. So I'm just curious about the exit strategy of these trucks and where they go, and what's kind of your protocol for that?
DCAS manages the relinquishment process for trucks that are past their end of their useful life.
Okay. We're going to talk just quickly on state and federal funding. We've talked about this before with the state EPR. Do you have an estimate of what the budgetary implication would be for the Department of Sanitation?
Massive. Hold on.
Yeah, so we, in total, we spend about around $166 million just on straight-time collection costs and recycling processing. Potentially, the total revenue could be higher than that. It's something that we are watching very closely in the state legislature, and we're encouraged by the discussions between the Assembly, the Senate, and the governor at this point.
Okay. And just on a few more one other question. The U.S. EPA offered new federal grant program opportunities for local government entities to apply for funding for recycling and organic programs and infrastructure, as well as for education and outreach. Has DSNY pursued these opportunities?
We are pursuing them.
Okay. Are there any other federal funding opportunities that you're pursuing or planning to pursue?
The EPA ones, what were the other ones?
Yeah, so we're keeping an eye on those opportunities. There's some new funding that came out from the EPA specifically on environmental justice that we're looking at, but certainly the 2 that were due in February, which we applied for both for the full funding level, were the 2 that were most appropriate for the work that we're doing.
Okay, we're almost done. We just have some questions on plan details for fiscal '24. Sanitation's fiscal 2024 budget contains $35 million in new needs in personnel services adjustments for higher than expected costs. This money will be across 3 programmatic areas: general administration, collection and street cleaning, and support operations. Can you detail what this funding is being spent on specifically?
For our overtime.
For what?
Our overtime.
Overtime. Okay. On all those 3 areas, or is there one in particular that's
The
taking?
35 million was for our overtime.
Okay. Does DSNY plan to add funding for Precision Cleaning Initiative, or the TNT, which we all love, by the way, for FY24?
Is the precision cleaning baselined?
Additional funding was not baseline.
Okay, so but the TNT is baselined. So the TNT is baseline, the precision cleaning is not baselined, and I'd like to work with you on that for the adopted budget.
Okay. Will e-waste curbside collection start again?
No. Except in Staten Island. The council funded that in Staten Island.
Okay, and what is the funding for e-waste collections for FY24 preliminary budget?
Let me go to the e-waste slide. Do you have the numbers on the top of your head, Greg? You do.
So the e-waste collection program was only funded as a 1-year program in FY23, so there is no funding for that in FY24 at this time.
Generally, the costs associated.
Yeah, the remaining programs that we run for e-waste are all covered under the New York State Electronic Waste Act, so those are all generally cost neutral. There are some marketing and communications costs associated, but the actual collection is cost neutral.
Okay, I do have one question about e-bike batteries. The council has been trying to tackle this. I know we have some more legislation coming down the pipeline, but does DSNY require more funding to properly and safely handle the disposal of these batteries, these lithium-ion batteries? And does DSNY have plans to expand any disposal sites?
So we work very closely with, we're working very closely with the fire department and the Department of Environmental Protection on all manner of issues related to lithium-ion batteries. Our special, you asked if we have plans to expand our special waste sites?
Yeah, the disposal sites for,
We do
that would
not
accept
have
those.
plans at this time to expand the special waste sites or the safe disposal events. As you know, the safe disposal events we run twice a year in the different boroughs.
Okay, we talked about legal dumping. And then in terms of Local Law 9 of 23, which we passed at the end of last year for tracking the street sweepers and having that available online, were there any additional costs required for that for FY24?
Not at this time. We've made very nice progress on it. We've designed what it's going to look like and what the user experience will be like to make sure it's simple and easy to use, and it's very much underway.
Okay, great. Just have a few questions on vacancy, and I know a bunch of questions were asked, but just some follow-up. How many approvals, requests to hire were sent to OMB by DSNY?
In what time period?
For FY23.
For FY23? How many people did we ask to hire? I don't have that number here.
You don't have that?
How many people have we asked to hire? No, I could tell you how many other data that we have on vacancies, if you want it.
Just the question was, how many requests to hire were sent to OMB by the agency? But you can follow up if necessary.
But it's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, probably thousands.
Okay. Do you know how many, by chance, were not approved by OMB?
No. We've hired a lot of people at the Department of Sanitation this year. We are 4% above our budgeted headcount. And the mayor has funded a number of new programs that has taken us to the highest uniform headcount that we've seen in 2 decades.
Okay, and what is your current attrition rate?
Right, for uniform or civilian?
If you have that broken down, that would be great.
Do you have that, Joe?
Could do
here?
just in general, but then if you have it by civilian and uniform.
So I don't have the attrition rate for civilians, but,
We have.
oh, you do?
Yeah,
Never
yeah,
mind.
just
Let-
gi-
We'll
just
give
give me
Joe
a
a second.
Yeah, just give me a second. I have all of it. For civilians, the rolling 12 months of the past 12 months is 11.49%. We've had 220 civilians leave the agency. And for uniform, the rolling 12-month is 6.04% with,
6.04?
yes, 6.04, with 460 uniform personnel having left the agency.
Okay. We saw that, and I know a couple people asked about this, we saw that enforcement had some higher vacancies, which had headcount cuts in FY23 adoption. Just one more time, because I wasn't fully tuned in with different members, but when do you plan to be fully staffed up for enforcement?
I think we are fully staffed for enforcement.
Okay. So you don't have a plan to fulfill any of the vacancies?
There were, as part of the PEGs, we lost a number of enforcement positions. My understanding is that the number of positions or vacancies remaining in enforcement is stuff that we would just do pro forma. It's a normal number of vacancies. So that's like not a big, it's standard operating procedure.
Okay.
It's 8 now in our entire enforcement division.
Does DSNY have a breakdown, or can you give a breakdown of the specific positions that are being cut from the FY24 preliminary budget?
I gave a breakdown before of the positions that were cut as part of the PEGs, but I'm happy to do that again.
Thank you.
In the November plan, we lost 68 positions, sanitation enforcement agents, associated sanitation enforcement agents, and then 24 other various civilian positions. In the January plan, we lost 28 positions, and we are still, civilian positions, and we're still working with the Office of Management and Budget to identify the specific positions to be eliminated. I think many of those are going to end up having been mechanics.
And the civilian positions, what are those generally? What programmatic areas of work are those?
It ranges from administrative, outreach, legal, like across the field, across the board.
Okay. A few final questions. How much revenue is DSNY bringing in from charging NYCHA for waste collections?
You have that? Joe's going to get back to you on that.
Okay. While we're waiting, if you want to talk a little bit about,
Wait, he found it.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, we are budgeted to bring in $750,000 for the NYCHA special collection.
Okay, and then for we haven't had as much snow. You haven't had to do the plows yet, right?
No, we tried once in the Bronx, but it wasn't enough.
Okay. So how are you all planning on using some of that savings?
The savings goes back into the general fund, and I do expect this year significant savings in the snow budget. But 100% of the budget is not going to be saved. What's important to keep in mind is there are certain fixed costs spent at the beginning or before the season when we don't know how much snow is going to fall. So an obvious example is like the amount of salt we bought. We don't know how much snow is going to fall when we buy the salt, although we're going to save money next year on salt because we definitely have a lot of salt left over. The cost to get our fleet of salt spreaders and everything PM'd and maintained and upgraded and make sure the GPS works. So there are those costs. There are also the training costs. On the uniform side, we do, I think, a significant amount of training before the season starts to make sure that our entire uniform staff is refreshed and ready.
Yeah, so just like readiness, season readiness cost. Okay. Has DSNY, we've asked this 1,000 times, has DSNY explored increasing the budget for DSNY's marine and rail transfer stations, specifically to accept commercial waste during overnight and other peak commercial collection times?
Not at this time.
What's that?
Not at this time.
The waste characterization study was primarily funded in fiscal year '23, with only a small portion funded in FY '24. Can you tell us about the progress made on this study and the projected release date?
Yes, I can, but I just want to make sure I have all of the right numbers here, so I just need 1 second. Okay, I can't easily find the numbers, but our waste characterization study is coming along very nicely. As we've mentioned before, we are doing more sorting with this study in more seasons than we have ever done before. My understanding is that that study has been fully funded and that no additional funding is required.
Okay. Last question. Building on that study, I wanted to ask about the swamp, and does DSNY have the resources they need for the comprehensive solid waste management plan process, including the required public engagement?
We have enough money for what is being done right now, which is like a lay of the land. What are the current conditions? And additional funding is going to be required for additional work over the next, I think it's 3.5 years to put the solid waste management plan together.
Okay. I think that's all of our questions.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for answering as candidly as you do. We appreciate that. And we will start to get ready for public testimony. We're gonna call up. Okay, so we're gonna call up first folks that are in person and then move to online. We're gonna call up Eric Goldstein, Sonia Chung, and Lacey Tauber, I always mess it up, Tauber. And Christine Romero. All right, thank you to our frequent flyers, panelists. We love having you at our sanitation hearings. We'll just go left to right, well, my left to right. So we'll start with you, Eric.
Thank you, Chair Nurse, and good afternoon. My name is Eric Goldstein from the Natural Resources Defense Council. Solid waste policy in New York is in the midst of two historic, once-in-a-generation transformations. The first deals with commercial waste, as you know. Thanks to Local Law 199 of 2019, the city is in the midst of taking a system that was completely chaotic, Wild West, a major source of environmental, labor, traffic, safety, and other problems, and transforming it into a system with 20 organized zones, reducing, among other things, as much as 15 million miles a year of diesel truck traffic, which will have widespread beneficial environmental and public health ramifications. The second transformation is the creation of universal curbside organics collection, or the movement to that. The council has initiated that move through the introduction of Intro 244. The mayor and the commissioner have begun a voluntary citywide program, which is a good start. The smart bin programs is nice, but let's make no mistake, without a local law to make this program mandatory, we will never achieve the economic and environmental efficiencies that are necessary. We applaud the work that has been done so far, but just for the sake of order of magnitude, the 3-month pilot program in Queens has collected nearly 13 million pounds of yard waste and food waste. That's about, if my calculations are correct, 6,500 tons over 3 months. And of course, the city generates probably 4,000 tons a day of organics. So 6,500 tons over 3 months versus 4,000 tons a day. We've obviously got a long way to go if we want to have the environmental and economic efficiencies of that program, which is why Intro 244 is so important. We're also concerned about a third post-COVID priority, which has been to clean up the city, to reduce street litter and overflowing litter baskets. This is so important to the quality of life in every city neighborhood. But we're concerned that on all of these three fronts, the mayor's preliminary budget falls short of what's needed. And we bet that the sanitation department agrees with us on most of these concerns. This appears to be part of the annual budget dance, but it is up to the council to do its role to make sure that funds for those three initiatives, among others, are restored. First, on organics, while the mayor has proposed this citywide expansion, funding for the 23-24 rollout does not appear there. We understand that's a work in progress. We want to ensure that those funds, all that are necessary, are incorporated, and ensure that the important community composting programs that have played such a vital role during this interim period are well funded. Second, with respect to commercial waste zones, implementation of this program is moving forward, which we appreciate, but behind schedule. The preliminary budget appears to propose a decrease from $6 million to $5.7 million for that program, and this should be a very high priority year with lots of activity, so we're concerned about that. And then finally, on the litter front, funds added by the council, as has been discussed by Councilmember Bottcher and others, $22 million last year has had a real positive impact, and funding for the targeted cleanup program and illegal dumping, which was $7.5 million in FY23, also does not appear to be included in the budget at this point. We hope the council will fight for those. Finally, if we've read the documents correctly, there appears to be an $18 million cut in OTPS for waste prevention, reuse, and recycling for recycling and sustainability funding. Recycling rate continues to be below expectations, and we hope that that discrepancy is clarified and that these very important programs are fully funded in the coming year. This is a critical year for the department. These big initiatives really can make a lasting generational change difference, and this is the year that we hope the mayor will come across with the extra funds, thanks to the good work of your committee and the rest of the council. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Chair Nurse, and for the opportunity to testify and for your leadership in improving New York City's waste systems and to make it more equitable. My name is Sonia Chung, and I'm an environmental justice staff attorney at New York Lawyers for the Public Interest. We have just a couple of comments on the budget. First, echoing what Eric has spoken about the commercial waste zones law, we were encouraged to see a couple of additional budgeted staff positions, but concerned to see the $350,000 cut to OTPS. yes, we appreciated the oversight hearing that this committee convened for Local Law 199, and we're encouraged then to hear the department state that commercial waste zones was a priority, and just hope and urge the council and the department to have a budget that reflects the commitment to implementation of that law on a timeline that prioritizes environmental justice. And secondly, we were very encouraged to hear the department speak about full funding for the universal composting in the executive budget, and we just urge the council to ensure that full funding and staffing happens to implement that service. We also appreciated the commissioner's comment about not sending all of the Manhattan compost to North Brooklyn, and we agree with that and hope that as capacity is sorted out, that is something that is also prioritized. And somewhat related to that, we recommend increases to the budget for the marine and rail transfer stations, specifically to accept commercial waste, as you mentioned in your questions, and we're concerned to see the budget cuts of staff positions for the marine transfer stations, should that become a possibility, we hope, in this next fiscal year. The connection that I thought of those two is perhaps if there is more capacity for commercial waste in the marine transfer stations, maybe there could be sorted out more capacity for compost that is not trucked then out to environmental justice communities. And lastly, we, on the point of enforcement that came up a lot in the hearing today, we really were encouraged to see the focus on illegal dumping in EJ communities, and there was a lot of focus on cleanliness. We also asked that there be, and this is perhaps tangentially budget, but increased enforcement in recycling rules and organic source separation rules that really need to be properly enforced, especially as we're waiting for the implementation of Local Law 199. And yes, and I guess in that sense, we were, I know that the positions about enforcement personnel has been talked about, but we were concerned to see the 78 positions being eliminated and the note about how many of the budgeted positions are vacant. So those, I've submitted written testimony as well, but especially with the forecast of revenue totaling $5 billion, more than predicted, and the announcement of almost $5 billion surplus this year, we think that is not the time to retreat from our sustainability and equity goals, and thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Yes, thank you, and good morning or good afternoon by now, Chair Nurse, and thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Christina Datz-Romero, and I'm the Executive Director of the Lower East Side Ecology Center, a community-based organization that has offered sustainability programs in New York City since 1987. The Ecology Center has offered composting programs since 1990 and currently runs 20 drop-off locations together with educational programs about composting. And I'd like to say right away here, our drop-off locations are educational tools because, for example, we run Union Square Green Market drop-off, and we interact with hundreds of people there every time we collect food scraps. So I would just point that out because I think the commissioner is, it's encouraging to hear that she's ready to rethink the role of what community-based composters play vis-a-vis curbside rollout, but at the same time, these drop-off locations, I think, are very important and are an educational tool. We are also developing, in partnership with DSNY, compost processing facilities in Canarsie, and we are planning for the return of our compost yard to East River Park. We are delighted, obviously, to see that an administration has made a commitment to offer universal curbside organics collection by the fall of 2024. And we strongly encourage the passing of the zero waste legislation package, Intro 274, 75 to 80 and 81, which will really enshrine these efforts into law, because I think it is important that we have that as law on our books and not have this stop and go that we otherwise might experience again. We also see community-based composting programs as a cornerstone for the success of the Curbside Organics program. Community-based programs engage New Yorkers in the compost process from start to finish. We are allowing people to get their hands dirty and to see how waste is turned into the resource that greens our city. We urge the council to protect the $7 million budget that was baselined for the compost project, and we also like to add a COLA increase to this budget, because otherwise it is really a budget that shrinks over time. Let me see what my notes here say. Yeah. All right, yeah, and another comment that I have, just listening to the testimony and to the conversations that you had, is the curbside collection and the tremendous amount of materials that we will collect. We're really looking forward to working with the council to really develop a plan to do compost infrastructure here in the city, and quite frankly, making finished compost that can green the city is a higher use of organics than a wastewater treatment process. I think they're both tools, but I think we should really think hard and work hard to make as much infrastructure that actually closes this loop right here in the city, because that, I think, is very meaningful for us overall. And then last but not least, thank you for asking about e-waste. So the Ecology Center also has a 20-year track record of providing e-waste collection and recycling programs in this city. Over these 20 years, we have diverted over 10 million tons of electronics out of the waste stream. Yes. And while disposing of electronics is illegal in New York State since 2015, again, we don't really have the adequate infrastructure to make it convenient for people, and we also need to educate more people about it, about responsibly disposing of their unwanted electronics. And I hope that the council can find ways to support more of that important work. Thank you.
Hi, Chair Nurse. Thank you for holding this hearing. My name is Lacey Tauber. I'm representing Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso. I want to speak today on a few topics: commercial waste zones, organics, containerization, and the Brooklyn District 1315 garage. I'm going to try to summarize a little bit in the interest of time. So the borough president was very disappointed to learn that DSNY intends to postpone implementation of the first commercial waste zone until the end of next year, with the full rollout expected to take at least 2 years after that. So this means that full implementation is not going to happen until at least 7 years after we pass this bill in 2019. And so last term, the City Council had passed a budget that provided DSNY with funding for 38 staff specifically dedicated to the program. And yet at the hearing last month, the commissioner testified that the program was fully funded based on need, with fewer staff than that, 20 civilians, 3 of whom had yet to be hired, 10 uniformed staff, and outreach not beginning until Q3 of next year. And we've also heard from multiple sources that these staff are consistently being reassigned to other projects, such as the Queens Compost rollout. And as much as the BP supports expanding compost collection, it shouldn't come at the expense of commercial waste zones. He disagrees with the commissioner's assessment that it would be premature to start outreach now. There's already a lot of misinformation out there, and with full staffing dedicated solely to the program, we could begin outreach earlier, potentially speed up the RFP review process, and begin implementation sooner. On organics, really great to see the expansion. The smart bins curbside is going to make it much easier for New Yorkers to participate. However, the BP remains skeptical that the program is going to be successful unless it is mandatory. And a mandatory program requires deep investment in operations and staffing, especially given that there's a supermajority of the council on the mandatory bill. We encourage the council to work with the admin to make sure that there's sufficient funding for that to be implemented now once the bill is passed, which we hope it will be soon. On containerization, the pilot is happening. That is a great step forward. However, it's disappointing that the residential portion has so far been limited to only one block in Manhattan. We have constituents from downtown Brooklyn to Coney Island complaining about unsightly garbage piles and rodents. Meanwhile, the city has paid for a study to study something we already know works. They've promised us an RFP, including commercial terms, performance requirements, and specifications, and we hope to see that very soon. And then finally, we testified about this last year, but the Brooklyn District 1315 garage remains among the worst in the sanitation's inventory, and there's no funding in the capital plan for a new garage. There remains a piece of land that had previously been identified for this garage to be developed. It's now for sale on the public market on the Coney Island Creek, and we are once again asking the admin to negotiate with National Grid to acquire the site and move forward with the garage development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just have a question for Lower East Side Ecology. Has the Department of Sanitation been in conversations with you about this idea of, they kind of alluded at it today, potentially drawing down or rethink, the term rethinking what the community composter plays has me on alert. And I'm just curious if they've started conversations with you all at all.
Yeah, not really. I think Commissioner Tisch has alluded to it also yesterday in your wonderful conversation at NYU, but we have really not seen any. There's no talks yet.
Yeah, I think this is something that we'll have to start proactively being organized around.
Yeah.
Because I do see it's very easy to understand the logic without a clear set of demands and a clear set of articulation of how the community drop-off network and the community composter network has and will still play a strong role with the saturation of options that we need to capture everybody. So I'm flagging that that I'm worried about that. And then, yes, I think we'll keep on the mandatory piece and the CWZ, I think there's a lot we can do to maybe push harder for faster implementation. So thank you for testifying.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Next up in person, we have Alana Nydorf. And then we'll move to online testimony. Whenever you're ready. Oh, and just turn on the mic, the little red light.
There we go, thanks. Hi, my name is Alana Weiss-Nydorf, and I'm an employee of the Department of Cultural Affairs. I work as a donations coordinator for Materials for the Arts, New York's largest creative reuse facility. On average, every year, MFTA diverts over 2 million tons of waste away from landfill and redistributes it throughout the community. We are a member-based organization and provide for city public schools, government agencies, nonprofits with arts programming, theaters, community organizations, and social services. The items that we accept would have otherwise been sent to landfill. I support these bills that we're discussing today because I've seen firsthand the ripple effects of prioritizing waste diversion within our community. Last year, our agency started the Film Waste Initiative, diverting hundreds of thousands of square feet of items, of props and furniture away from landfill and distributing them throughout our member organizations. There's no words to describe the impact these donations have had on our city. We oversaw the largest in-kind goods donation that the Administration of Children's Services has ever received to date, approximately $10 million worth of clothing, furniture, and supplies that otherwise would have sat in landfill for hundreds of years. Public schools all across the 5 boroughs have completely transformed their classrooms and extracurricular programming. Set pieces from Saturday Night Live found a new home at M415 Wadley Secondary School for the Visual and Performing Arts in Harlem. Furniture and decor from the TV show City on a Hill and a red carpet from Verizon inspired MS-244 in the Bronx to throw a Hollywood dance event for their students. Think Chinatown received gorgeous custom-made mahjong tables, lacquer furniture, and festive materials from the marvelous Mrs. Maisel prop warehouse that transformed their Lunar New Year events and their new office space. And last year, we also coordinated the donation of new office furniture and materials to innumerable city agencies, including DSNY, FDNY, DCAS, the Parks Department, and the Comptroller's Office. Prioritizing waste diversion and circularity significantly improves our city. Thank you for your time and for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, and I know our office is coming to you all soon for some chairs and things like that, so.
Oh yeah, anything you need, we'll make it happen.
Thank you for testifying. We're going to move to the online space. We're gonna start with Ryan Castilla, then we're gonna hear from Matt Schatz, and then Claire Mifflin. So Ryan, you are up, they'll let you know.
Time starts now.
Thank you so much, Chair Nurse, for having us today. My name is Ryan Castaglia. I'm the Executive Director of Sure We Can, New York's only nonprofit dedicated to serving canners, or the folks who collect and redeem bottles and cans others discard. I just want to thank Chair Nurse and the Council for continuing to make the space to discuss the critical issue of expanding New York State's bottle bill. It's really heartening that the Council is moving to support the effort at the state level to expand the bill. And it makes a lot of sense because the bottle bill is totally essential to our recycling outcomes and also to thousands of marginalized people across the state. The resolution being voted on tomorrow is a major step. However, as we're gathered here today to discuss the budget of the Sanitation Department, I want to call on the city to follow through on this important acknowledgement with tangible policy change and a new approach to supporting the redemption system, which since its inception and to this day has been New York's most effective tool for recycling. Though the bottle bill is a state law and the city cannot act to change the value of the deposit or what containers are included, it can act to make the conditions of those who work within the system better. Rising rents and the costs of operation mean redemption centers are going out of business across the 5 boroughs. Many individuals and businesses lack an easy way to get their deposits back. This is especially an issue in Manhattan, where there are no active redemption centers at all. Reverse vending machines that are prone to malfunction or that have severe limits on volume are not sufficient to address this problem. The city should make direct investments in redemption infrastructure, like redemption centers, that can work in concert with DSNY to ensure the maximum amount of material is meaningfully recycled across the city. And we're more than happy to work with the department to ensure that containers being diverted are being captured in data and recognized as part of the city's overall recycling rate. The canners, who, like New York's Strongest, work every day in arduous and potentially dangerous conditions to clean up our streets, should be recognized and supported. Canners face intense stigma on the basis of race, class, background, spoken language, age, housing situation, or disability. They don't need additional stigma from the institutions of the city they're cleaning. Though it's been some time since canners were called scavengers or worse by city institutions, the wounds of those attitudes remain. The city should work to heal them by recognizing their work and personal dignity through a Canner's Bill of Rights, or at the least public statements supporting canners and encouraging New Yorkers to participate in the system. By introducing real systemic support for the redemption system, by providing resources and recognition to the marginalized workers that produce the system's incomparable results, New York City can do what it's always done best, blaze a trail for others to follow, this time into a more sustainable future for us all. Thanks so much for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you. Next we have Matt Schatz.
Time starts now.
Hello, everybody. Can everyone hear me? We can hear you.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to talk a little bit. I'm a constituent in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and I just wanted to make a few points about what's being said today in general. In essence, we need to push for what those who were here before us, what they knew better than we did, that existence is circular rather than linear, and there should be no garbage, only regeneration and reuse. In more capitalistic terms, we need to push for a circular economy, one in which all that we call garbage is broken down into its component forms to be regenerated into inputs to create new products instead of languishing in landfills and polluting from incineration. Make no mistake, all this regeneration should occur through processes that use 100% renewable energy sources so we do the least harm. The chair was mentioning facility upgrades and new facility construction. Assuming those new buildings will comply with the electric building law, all other upgrades should be done in the most environmentally friendly capacity to continue to reduce our reliance on fossil fuels. Also, there was a mention of approximately 190 dual bin sanitation trucks, which seems like a great idea, but are these trucks going to be electric or run on diesel? Because it's a slam dunk to push for an electric fleet and transition the old trucks into biodiesel, a much cleaner option than new diesel or gasoline-powered vehicles. I ask you to support two bills. The first, which is INT 0274-2022, which establishes a goal of zero waste for New York City by 2030. This seems more aspirational in scope, and details how to get there should be worked out, of which some I will share in a few. The second is INT 0244-2022, which mandates residential curbside organics collection. And I also love what the previous speaker was talking about a bigger, better bottle bill to give honor to those who are already doing the work of most recyclers in our city. Mayor Adams laid out details over the coming 20 months for weekly collection of compostable materials that will become an automatic, guaranteed free year-round service for every single resident across all 5 boroughs. It appears this is a foregone conclusion. As this is a New York Knicks, Brooklyn Net, New York Liberty layup, I commend the Department of Sanitation and City Council on helping to make this happen. We just need to guarantee that adequate funding is allocated for this recently announced citywide curbside composting program. A brilliant move by the head of sanitation to position composting as a service rather than a chore. It just makes sense, as 30% of New York City's waste are organics, and this allows us to reuse the food scraps and turn them into fertilizer for our green spaces. It's also imperative that the plastic bags used through the composting program should all be able to be processed by the digesters, which should also be powered by green energy. So in essence, the plastic bag should be compostable. In a cost-saving move, perhaps since you want to transition the public bins in the outer boroughs to curbside composting, and Manhattan is the last to roll out the curbside program, move the public bins that will be unused from the boroughs to Manhattan until the curbside program in Manhattan is rolled out. Now, what about the other quote unquote garbage, the other 70%? We need to focus on creating zero waste system, and the first bill mentioned creates that idea. But how? Once we collect it, which I totally agree to financially punish with large fines those who litter or dump, it is imperative that we create a system where the other waste gets repurposed and reused. The current electronic recycling program in its overall scope is a great place to look for inspiration as a means to reuse and repurpose while keeping harmful chemicals from leaching into the ground. Landfilling with the associated methane gases and lack of biodegradation is not a feasible or an environmentally friendly solution, and neither is the pollution-heavy incineration option, which is in no way a green option. Somebody ignorantly stated earlier, nobody cares about methane. But aside from being a tone-deaf comment, as methane is a more toxic and potent greenhouse gas than CO2, it is also the major off-gas from factory farms and landfills. And while the assembly member may not think people care about it, we should. For the remaining non-organic waste, to get to a zero-waste solution, possibly we need to partner with a company like TerraCycle and marry a business with a municipality to break down this waste into its component parts so we can then repurpose it into other useful forms.
Thank you. We give space for folks who are here in person to go a little bit longer, but for virtual, we ask that folks stick to the time allotted. Thank you. So please consider your remarks before you come on, try to get your priority. You don't need to spend so much time introducing yourself. We all know who you are. You all come to our hearings all the time. So just go ahead and give your feedback and submit your written testimony. Next, we're gonna hear from Anna Sachs, then Claire Mifflin, then Justin Green.
Time starts now.
Time is, I think it's 3. Okay. Sorry, Claire, for bumping you. Hi, my name is Anna Sachs. I'm testifying today on behalf of the Manhattan Solid Waste Advisory Board. So right now we have around an 18% recycling rate. 80% of our waste, though, goes to a landfill or incinerator, and 41% of what we're exporting to landfills and incinerators consist of organic material. So since 2015, our disposal costs have increased by 52%. From 315 million to 478 million. And again, 41% of that is organics. We commend the city on rolling out curbside composting, but we believe it must be mandatory to ensure that there is a long-lived budgetary commitment to the program. Therefore, Intro 244 should be brought to vote as soon as possible. We also call for the remaining package of the remaining zero waste package to be passed, which will help move the city towards zero waste. It's important also that we are redirecting any export dollars and tons saved back to New York City organics, recycling, reuse, and education programs. We also would like to see more funding of education and outreach studies and pilots to be done. We should annually fund optimized education and outreach programs as determined based off of these pilots. We recommend that the city fund enforcement. We noticed that the amount of recycling participation has decreased by half in the last 8 years. Oh, sorry, the amount spent on the enforcement. So enforcement is the main tool we have to motivate those reluctant to participate. The city should prioritize understanding and reducing reusing the other category as measured by DSNY, which is 30% of all that is exported. We also ask that we have an increase in funding for the compost project commensurate with the increase in cost of living and inflation to make sure that those employed by it continue to be able to live in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Almost a whole minute to spare. Thank you so much. Claire Mifflin.
Time starts now.
Hi, I'm Claire Mifflin from the Center for Zero Waste Design. I'm very happy that the administration is working to clean up sidewalks, containerized waste, and expand organics collection citywide. These were the things we advocated for with our Put Waste to Work for vibrant streetscapes, green jobs, and healthy neighborhoods vision plan. And the last part of that vision plan was really looking at how to separate all food waste to regenerate soil citywide. And we'd love to see all private and public green spaces in the city, parks, housing developments, street tree pits, and private gardens, have those soils regenerated with compost made within the city, because it brings just so many benefits. Compost can hold more than 5 times its weight in water, and it helps not only protect the plants from diseases to help them thrive, but then the soil can filter pollutants, hold stormwater, reducing flooding, and making our cities cooler in the summer. And it also, I think it's also important to stress that community composting brings people together at those drop-off sites and compost sites and the education programs community composting all offer, and gives people a tangible way to see how they can make a difference. And I know there is limited funding, but I also know that there's a lot of funding for cloudburst projects in the city, projects that better manage stormwater through green infrastructure. Yet, New York City green infrastructure guidelines don't mention the use of compost, unlike those of some other cities like Seattle, where in some cases it's required. So I'd love to see the Department of Sanitation work with parks, DEP, NYCHA, the council, the mayor's office, all working to ensure that local compost is used in all these stormwater and cloudburst projects in the city where it can be, and included in green infrastructure guidelines so that designers and landscape architects know how to use it, and so that public projects and agencies are required to procure and use local compost. And I'm hoping that tying it into stormwater management could provide additional funding and support and help ramp up small-scale composting citywide. And also, we do need to work to change zoning for the use of small composting, Parks Department policies, and more to provide the necessary space for small-scale composting. And consider it an integral part of sustainable green space maintenance. It'll improve soils, reduce rats, litter, reduce the amount of trucks, because we could all take our compost just to the closest place. So we're happy to help in any way we can. We have case studies online on parks like Battery Park City, which does maintain its soils through compost made on site from yard and food waste managed by their horticultural staff. We've extrapolated these park studies to the whole of the city, and we think if 20% of the 47,000 acres of landscape acres areas in New York City are regenerated with compost every year, it would require about 500,000 tons of food scraps, about half of the residential food waste in the city. And then we could eliminate trucking of those food scraps, use micro haulers, taking them to local compost facilities, which would be run by those maintaining local green spaces, increasing jobs and greening our city. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next we have Justin Green, followed by Nora and Darren.
Time starts now.
Hi, my name is Justin Green. I'm the Executive Director of Big Reuse, a nonprofit fighting climate change through community-based zero waste initiatives, composting, reuse, and outreach. I want to thank Chair Nurse and City Council for these hearings and the attention to community composting. I'm really heartened to hear that community composting and FSDO funding is still baseline this year at $7 million. Do want to take the time to thank and celebrate the Commissioner Tisch and DSNY for launching a citywide residential curbside composting collection. It's amazing. It's something we've been all fighting for and working towards, including Chair Nurse for over a decade. Commissioner Tisch brought her transformative ability from Do It to DSNY and has rolled out this program with remarkable speed. So we want to celebrate and really be thankful for that. I want to support the comments of Anna Sachs and Claire Mifflin and Christina Datz-Romero, Eric Goldstein, and Neil P. before. I do feel like there's really a place for community composting in even a larger scale citywide curbside composting collection model. We engage residents at their communities. We make visible the benefit of composting. They can actively participate in making the compost, take it back home with them and apply it in front of their houses to their street trees and in their community gardens. And it's one of the really key ways, I think, that curbside composting has gotten so much support, that the smart bins have been so successful, is because of the all the community composting efforts that have been launched in the city and supported by DSNY in a really visionary move to support community groups in the city that can help publicize, engage, provide outreach, residents and community members. We've also participated and been really excited to participate in the outreach for curbside composting collection. In Queens, we were part of the door-to-door activity. We knocked on close to 30,000 doors, had about 224 events, and spoke to almost 40,000 people in 3 months to get them to participate. We do that in 5 different languages, and we take the time to tell people how to participate and how to, at their doorsteps, how they can participate, how they can use their bins, and how to mitigate rats. And so in conclusion, I think there is a real space and opportunity to make this the most local and ecological response through community composting and using the organic waste to green the city. Thanks again for your time and all your efforts.
Thank you. Nora?
Hi, thank you. First of all, Chair Nurse and City Council for holding this space. It's really phenomenal to see compost on the agenda and being rolled out citywide for New York City residents. This is a long time coming in a city whose waste comprises 1/3 organics, which have traditionally ended up in landfills and incinerators in the backyards of frontline EJ communities. My name is Nora Jossam. I'm the current co-director of BK Rot, a youth-driven bike-powered composting service in Bushwick, dedicated not only to diverting food waste from landfills, but to hiring young people of color in a rapidly gentrifying area. As you know, we've been operating in Brooklyn for almost 10 years. Over the last 3 years of the pandemic alone, we've diverted hundreds of tons of organics to create high quality compost that goes directly back to our neighbors in North and Central Brooklyn. All of this was done in community gardens and on bikes, fossil fuel free, by young people who have fearlessly advocated for environmental justice solutions in the communities where they've grown up. They are not just the future, but the here and now of environmental justice and waste equity. My question today is how the city's forecasted plan and budget will include and uplift rather than eradicate these fierce community composters who have held down composting in New York City. How will you value and uplift the workers who are out there on bikes and in gardens all year round, putting into practice the power of circularity and demonstrating the many applications of compost in our city, many of which were mentioned just before this testimony, from growing fresh food to flood mitigation to street tree care and soil remediation in public green spaces. Initiatives like mandatory organics recycling will encourage new composters rather than simply shifting those who already compost with community orgs to a municipal system. As the CWZ rolls out and more bike lanes appear with the popularization of bike deliveries, so too do opportunities for collaboration with bike-based micro-haulers who can mitigate traffic congestion and diesel emissions while creating local green jobs. We need to know that with this rollout, we're not simply replacing the inequitable environmental harms from landfilling waste with anaerobic digestion, pollution from adding diesel trucks for collection, and waste export to other frontline communities. There are just so many opportunities to learn from and work with micro-haulers, food scrap drop-off managers, and community composters like those we've heard from today who have made compost their bread and butter, not to mention veggies, coffee, and fruits. I hope you will do so as you plan for this new future of waste in New York City. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We now have Darren, followed by Vandra, followed by Juan.
Time starts now.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darren Kwong. I'm a resident of Harlem and a member of We Act for Environmental Justice and Indivisible Harlem. I'm here today to support the Zero Waste Bill package, including intros 274 and 244, both of which thankfully Chair Nurse has championed. Environmentally enshrining the goal of zero waste by 2030 will mean we can stop sending our 14 million tons of trash each year to incinerators or landfills outside of the state. We'll actually begin to take ownership of the garbage that we produce and not export our problems elsewhere to other cities, other states, other frontline communities. It'll commit us to composting, returning organic food waste back to the land and not into the atmosphere as methane gas. And it'll push our city to make the responsible disposal of waste like electronics and textiles more accessible. Financially, zero waste can help us save money. Our city currently spends about $450 million a year to export our trash. Some landfill sites are as far as Ohio or South Carolina. We are paying to pollute. The Independent Budget Office has said that the only way to dramatically reduce New York City's waste disposal volumes and costs would be to roll out a mandatory organics composting program. All the while, investing in zero waste will create good green union jobs from sanitation workers to logistics coordinators, et cetera, and more. Finally, this bill package is simply the right thing to do. Reimagining waste is something we can eliminate. It's also reimagining how we can relate with each other. We'll be investing in our futures and the futures of many generations down the line. At the same time, it can mean reinvesting in repair and reuse economies, like mom and pop repair shops that used to be much more available just around the block. Those are the places that can resurrect the 15-page document we mistakenly didn't save. So jokes aside, zero waste can reopen us up to old opportunities of rebuilding relationships with our neighbors too. Please pass the zero waste bill package as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Vandra.
Time starts now.
Hello, do you hear me? Host, yes. Hello. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Great to be here, and congratulations to all of us composters the city's electeds and authorities for moving New York City closer toward universal compost collection. My name is Vandra. I'm the founder of and president of Fokashi, New York's original compost collection service, founded in 2009. And since 2011, and my first testimonies at various sanitation hearings, I have advocated for the reallocation of waste export dollars toward community-based composting and recycling initiatives. Unfortunately, that budget line has only increased despite the many composting initiatives that have grown up in the past 10 years, demonstrating the potential for an amazing assortment of compost-based projects just waiting to be expanded, developed, and duplicated, studied, and invested in. Instead, the current solution is $45 million in trucks. Well, with the political support found in the current elected representatives and the passage of the zero waste package of bills, I want to respectfully underscore the following issues. Obviously, mandatory separation is really important. Of all recyclables should be extended. But I want to advocate for a two-tiered strategy for the residential organics. First of all, large buildings, and that's Manhattan. All of the landlords and the real estate developers and managers need to invest in educating their tenants and janitorial staff to manage and maintain source-separated waste streams within their buildings. And developers and managers should be educated all of the varieties of managing compost. They shouldn't have to just wait for sanitation to take off all of the wet compost within the buildings. There are many wonderful machines out there that buildings should be encouraged to invest in. So and that could be tomorrow. Sanitation should be knocking on the doors and holding all of the meetings that they can with the large building managers and owners. And the second tier is actually for the low density neighborhoods all around the city, and to really put a investment in a new green service, that all of the low density neighborhoods could be serviced by a green infrastructure of community-based green team workers. That's where we want to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Juan Calcutta, followed by Alex Stein.
Time starts now.
You're not on? Okay. Okay, well, thank you all for participating. Thank you everyone who stayed and gave testimony, everyone who joined here, and thank you to the administration, and of course, all the staff here in the background, holding down the tech and the mic, and of course, our committee task force team. Thank you all so much. Please stay tuned for April's hearing, as well as follow-up conversations in May about the executive budget. Thank you all. This is the end of the hearing.